Come show some love, eh? Don't be a scrub, eh? Nah, 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 nah. Hey, that, we ain't gon' top till we're on top. We ain't gon' stop, nah, 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 nah. We ain't gon' stop till we're number one, number one. But you wanna block us if you act up. Hit you with a bang if you act up. Let's get it. Welcome to the stream, leave a comment, leave a follow, leave a sub, eh? Come show some love, eh? Don't be a scrub, eh? Skrat, 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 skrat. We ain't gon' stop till we're on top. We ain't gon' stop, nah, 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 nah. We ain't gon' stop till we're number one. We're number one, we're number one. What we gon' play today? The stream is starting, so don't go away. Welcome to the stream, leave a comment, leave a follow, leave a sub, eh? Come show some love, eh? Don't be a scrub, eh? Nah, 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 nah. Hey, skrat, we ain't gon' top till we're on top. We ain't gon' stop, nah, 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 nah. We ain't gon' stop till we're number one, number one. But you wanna block us if you act up. Hit you with a bang if you act up. Let's get it, bitch. I feel like Zelda the way I slice shit up. Hey, 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 yeah. Skrat, 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 skrat. Follow that. Yeah. Enjoy the stream, cause you know where we at. Welcome to the stream, leave a comment, leave a follow, leave a sub, eh? Come show some love, eh? Don't be a scrub, eh? Nah, 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 nah. Hey, skrat, we ain't gon' top till we're on top. We ain't gon' stop, nah, 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 nah. We ain't gon' stop till we're number one, number one. But you wanna block us if you act up. Hit you with a bang if you act up. Let's get it. Welcome to the stream, leave a comment, leave a follow, leave a sub, eh? Come show some love, eh? Don't be a scrub, eh? Skrat, 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 skrat. We ain't gon' stop till we're on top. We ain't gon' stop, nah, 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 nah. We ain't gon' stop till we're number one. We're number one, we're number one. What we gon' play today? The stream is starting, so don't go away. Welcome to the stream, leave a comment, leave a follow, leave a sub, eh? Come show some love, eh? Don't be a scrub, eh? Nah, 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 nah. Hey, skrat, we ain't gon' top till we're on top. We ain't gon' stop, nah, 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 nah. We ain't gon' stop till we're number one, number one. But you wanna block us if you act up. Hit you with a bang if you act up. Let's get it, bitch. I feel like Zelda the way I slice shit up. Hey, 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 yeah. Skrat, 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 skrat. Follow that. Yeah. Enjoy the stream, cause you know where we at.
NANI?!
Welcome to the stream, leave a comment, leave a follow, leave a sub, eh? Come show some love, eh? Don't be a scrub, eh? Nah, 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 nah. Hey, skrat, we ain't gon' top till we're on top. We ain't gon' stop, nah, 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 nah. We ain't gon' stop till we're
Good morning, everybody.
number one.
Morning. How is everybody? What's up, everybody? How you doing? Good morning. I'm still waking up. Still waking up. How is everybody? Chains on. Today, we're efficient. This is an efficient stream today. I wish I could go live when I wake up. Yeah, it's easier for me so I don't overthink stuff. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit my mic. The reason why I started going live at this time, while you keep lying in your titles, we are making progress. We're progressing. You know, we're an efficient stream, Cursed. An efficient stream today. You know, we're all about progress and efficiency. You know, first 2 hours is a tier list reaction stream. We are peak efficiency today, you know? Peak. Because I have to be out of here at 2. I have to. Up, too loud. I have to be out of here at 2. You have your Wheaties? Oh, we had them. Not Wheaties, but Mr. Yeah, you can make the flights my better. Exactly. Can't miss the plane. Can't miss the plane, you know? Make sure you stock up on the applesauce. I need that. This is what peak performance looks like. Exactly. Exactly. Like, we are peak. Next time we do a tier list, we're rating that girl again. I don't remember her name. I demand to be a part of this. I have to remember what her name was. I gotta ask Smacks. Because that was wild. No man, dog. How is everybody? Hope your mornings are going well. Yo, what's up, Chili? What's up? What's up? That is not Steam. How are you? How goes it? Let me turn my ringer down. Can't put my phone on D&D today. You want one of these? Where's my Steam? There it is. Cursed, how long was the solo part in Red Dead Online before you get to unlock the free roam? So we can get the bandits going. See the pink badge by my name. So I got to do that too. It's like 20 minutes. Okay. Okay. So I'll do that when I get home. Keep your fingers crossed that it does not rain, because that would be terrible today. We cannot have it raining. It would be Mickey fucking fruitcake. Bounders. Bounders. Yes, sir. Bounders. Let's see if I have instant upload available yet. I need that Bean Man emote. Twitch is playing with me. Take forever. I forget, it was like 1 or 2. I think so. Yeah, it was like you and Apocalypse. Like the first 2. Yo, what's up, Cass? How are you? How you doing? You want a badge or something? Let's look at these emotes. No, it's because he has a badge, you know? He got one. Emotes, let's see. Still don't have it yet. I guess we're almost at 60 days of being affiliate, and then we'll get the instant approve. Yeah, keep your fingers crossed it doesn't rain. I desperately need it not to rain today, since I am outdoors today. You know, so we need the weather to cooperate, at least for an hour, from 3 to 4, 2 to 4, 2 hours, 2 hours. You know, I got the best badge. I got that You're Not Dr. Schnuggles badge. Let me mute this. Right, you're not the doc? True. Doc is the doc. Stream was fun yesterday, Doc.
I am a banana!
The stream was fun. Also, I gotta say, me, Curse, and Lev, we were so good last night on Deceive Inc. My God. Playing Transformers War for Cybertron right now. Good game.
Wow.
Good game choice. Good game choice. We were rolling. I appreciate you, bro. We got stuck in that second win. It was so annoying. Yeah. At least you didn't get it early, right? So you got more comp time in, since you can only get 2 wins in for some reason. That 2 comp win, then you're done, is stupid. I hate that rule. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you'd think you'd want them to continue playing. Yeah, we're slowly getting legit with that game. We really are. We're gonna be so good. They better start having tourneys. That'd be so cool. A Deceive Inc. tourney. We're getting so good, you know. I love that game. It's just too fun. Too fun. Makes me want to buy that outfit pack DLC just so I have all the fits. Too good. Ring Mountain Dew Baja. I don't want to watch that. I'm not gonna lie. Badlands. I'm sorry. Don't want to watch that. Let's see. That 2-win thing is. Don't worry, guys. We're being efficient today. Yes, we are. We're being peak efficient. I am opening Red Dead for when I'm ready to play it. You know. Have a good lurk, Lino. Appreciate you. I saw you on FIFA the other day. I'm almost done with Blue Lock. I have one more episode, then we can talk about it. Howdy, partner. What's up, Illy? How are you? How's it going? How are you today? Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. You know, yesterday we did one quest, but we did do stuff that was interesting, you know. If you can hear Red Dead, it's because I'm opening it. Want a hell yeah from Stone Cold? Hold on. I'll actually play his. You know what's funny, Doc? I did not know who Stone Cold was until last week when we watched WWE a recap. Keep coming and dipping so much. I need some gameplay. I got you. What? Yeah. I didn't watch wrestling as a kid. You didn't know who he was? I did not. Let me get a sound alert for it. I got you. I didn't. That's just my ADHD. What? What about Rey Mysterio? I don't think I've seen him. He wasn't in the video we watched. I don't think so. I had never seen any WWE. The only reason I knew certain wrestlers was from outside of the ring. But I got you, Illy. I'll get you some gameplay, I promise. Because we're peak efficiency today. Rey Mysterio and Stone Cold were goated. Booyaka, booyaka. Is it this one?
Give me a hell yeah.
I'll say today. Is that one? You want that one? Or that's too long.
Give me a hell yeah.
That one? That one? I think that one's it. Hell yeah, got you. It is adding. It should be there now. There you go. Rey is the best. I don't think I've seen Rey Mysterio. I've heard the name.
Give me a hell yeah.
Why you sound like you fucking Stone Cold 316. I believe I heard him say that in the video. I don't remember what it was though. I don't remember. Let me see. Oh, what's up, Grills? What's up, man? How you doing? You'd go on Peacock and watch old matches of Rey Mysterio? Do I have Peacock? I think I have Peacock. I'll have to. We watched highlights. We were talking about Grills yesterday. You sit there and thump your Bible and you say your prayers. They didn't get you anywhere. Talk about your Psalms. Talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass, announced Austin during his coronation speech. Damn. I'm good. I'm glad, Grills. Welcome in, man. Welcome in, man. Okay, I'm back. Welcome back. Let me open this so that it stops playing the music. Did I just put it online? Yo, what's up, Glitch? I just opened online like an idiot. I have to do this again. I should use that next Friday get in? You should. Sad news, Addy didn't get a promotion. It's okay. There's better things out there for Addy, you know? Much better. Austin 316 says, I just whooped your ass. I like that. I actually like that. I'm on crazy crack. Damn. Special occasion, huh? Special occasion glitched. I mean, gross. Sorry. I saw a glitch in here. Did I say what's up? I did. How are you, glitched? I've been asleep. Why? What did you do? See my journal portion cord yesterday? Let me see. You look in the general. I did. How did I miss that one? That is gross. This fucking game. Yo, did you beat her? Did you beat her? He's having his wisdom teeth removed, so he spent all night watching 20-second clips of what it's like to stay awake. Instead of watching the clips, ask Snow. Snow was so traumatized, he was like trying to figure out if existence is real. I mean, I do. See, there it is. Grills agrees. That's an accurate meme. Very accurate. Snow never talks talking about it. It's because he's traumatized. You know? He's really trying to overcome his trauma. You know? He really did disappear for a while. It was weird. No, this millennial lady, man. You got her. You got her, glitched. I believe in you. Snow moments basically are Wigglytuff and wisdom tooth removal. Yeah. Very true. Girl is secretly Dr. Roxo. Story. There we go. There we go. What chapter are we on? 2. Come on now. 2. You were here, girls. We're on chapter 2. We didn't do any story quests yesterday. Well, we did one. We did one story quest, but that's it. That's it. You know, yesterday we got blackout drunk, got in a bar fight, insulted people, went to a play, got arrested. You know, just a normal day in Red Dead. You know what I'm saying? You know? Nothing special. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? He's gonna be like, cocaine. That's his answer. You know? That is his answer. You know? Crack. Oh, I was close. I was close. See? I'm telling you. Grills is our random word generator. 8 wood. Yeah. 8 wood. That is it. That's the answer. That is the answer. You know? I knew he was going to say crack or cocaine. Something like that. I was close. I've never seen the panic basket emote in my life. I've never seen that. Your audio person has to be a lady, by the way. Damn it, I have to remake. Okay, I'll make. Oh yeah, that's true, because we're the big titty bandits. I didn't even think about that. I'm about to see some hillbilly country boy Oswald gameplay. You damn right, Illy. You damn right. You goddamn right you are. Goddamn right. Yeah, yesterday we didn't do much. We got drunk in first person and got into a bar fight. Like when you talk about me, like, I mean, we do talk about you. Hey, partner, pass that beer. Pass me over a cold one, buddy. Pass one over. I need this instant emote thing too. Morning. Good morning, dinosaur. How are you? How's it going? Welcome in. How you doing, my boy? Hope your morning's good. Mine's just starting. Cause I was up till what time we stopped playing Deceive last night? Like 1. How you doing this fine dining? Hey. Yo, Braden, thanks for the follow. How are you? How's it going? Gonna pass out on drugs? Oh no, cops. Shit. Yeah, you're kind of self-reporting there, Grills. You know, you got to be more discreet with it. You have to be more discreet. You know? So just remember, don't self-report. Enjoy Ross for all you newcomers. Yes, he does. He does. Yeah, Grills for the newcomers is our random word generator. You know what I'm saying? So every once in a while you'll notice we'll be having a convo and Grills will say something about like crack, for example, you know? So just so you know, I found you on TikTok a couple weeks ago and tossed you a follow because I appreciate the work. Yo, I appreciate that. Do you prefer to be called G or Dinosaur? I'll call you either one. I just got to know. We should run one of those. Guess what the hell he says next? I couldn't have guessed that one, Doc. Shit on my shoulder. Couldn't have guessed that one. But I appreciate that. Thanks for coming over from TikTok. That's cool. That really is. I appreciate that for real. I hope you're doing good. G? All right, I got you, G. It's cool. Is that Yoshi as your PFP? I had to look. So I was making your nickname. I guess he's gonna say crack in the butt. That you think he's gonna say that next? We'll see. Listen. Okay, I'm listening, Grills. I'm listening.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang! Bang! All right.
Damn, look at Doc. Doc is rich. Yeah, my girlfriend drew it. Damn, she's actually really good. She's good. His name is Dr. Roxo. He's the rock and roll clown. He does cocaine. I'm afraid that's all we know. These bots out of control. Shut the fuck out, you NPCs. That's cool. That's your girlfriend drew it. She's pretty good. Hey. Oh, yo. Joa. Did I say that right? Thanks for following. How are you? Yo, great start. See? Peak efficiency today. Peak efficiency. I'm Pennywise on meth. Okay, hands right here. Right here. Jumps with emotes and stuff because I cannot. No, I understand. You follow. I got you. I understand that. Hello? Yo, what's up, Braden? How's it going? How you doing, my boy? Hope you good. Welcome in. You're in my pre-gaming time. Good? I'm glad. I am glad. That is good to hear. I was seeing if there's any videos I wanted to watch, but I don't really see any. There's a Badlands video where he pours hot sauce into Mountain Dew and chugs it, but I don't know if I really want to watch that today. Country accent only, partner. My bad. My fault. We're in Red Dead time. Or you stream every day, or what is the schedule you got? I see you on live lots. I stream. Oh, sorry. Ellie said country only. I stream every day, partner, at 10 a.m. Central, every single day. Sunday through Sunday. Sunday to Sunday, every day. For usually like anywhere from 4 to 8 hours. Today it's a 4-hour though. You know, today is exactly a 4-hour. Ew. I kill people and desecrate the body of anyone who puts hot sauce in my dew. He did. I'll show you. I was gonna watch it, but I was like, we in Western times, buddy. Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you what Badlands is up to.
Bacon Club Chalupa, the meal.
He's at Taco Bell. Let's just get to it.
Then you have 2 Baja Blast hot sauce.
So apparently there's Baja Blast hot sauce. That's a thing now. So I guess he wasn't pouring it in his Mountain Dew. He was just using this. Now we gonna rob these riders and struck a gold one. I'm gonna vomit.
2 to 10.
You had it? Glitch, how is it? Like 1 to 10, how is it? It just looks weird. It looks like, I don't know if you remember when they tried colored ketchup, you know, years ago. They used to like make green. Please don't tell me. Solid 6. I mean, that's just bought Red Dead 2 because of you. Yes, Matt. That's what we like to hear. Are you gonna play online? Because me and Kirsch are starting a gang. God dang it, not a 6. Yeah, did you get Red Dead Online? Because we're starting a gang. I gotta see now. If he says it's a 6.
Baja Blast hot sauce. Let's go, folks.
All right.
Club Chalupa.
I got the Ultimate Edition? Okay, perfect. Yeah, we're starting a gang. Mm-hmm.
And you know how Taco Bell gets down.
Okay, so he got a chalupa.
Fourth meal, you know what I'm saying? You can get it late like it is now. But yo, I just got this from the soda plugs. I don't know if y'all can see
I don't know. I just don't know how this could be good. Grills, why don't you like online?
My friends, is Mountain Dew Baja Blast hot sauce. Oh my goodness. There's only 700 of these made, all right?
I just
your
don't.
Boy got one, okay? It's already open because we debuted
W? Perfect. We need Matt in the gang.
To Chili's and we tried it out there. But yo,
did he say?
Oh my goodness.
Is RPO in the Ultimate Edition? I think so. Let me see. I think so. Let me just Google it here. Watch Arthur get added to Fortnite in the next season? Yeah, imagine. I'm just disappointed in these hoodlums making these wild hot sauce. I just don't see how it's good. The Ultimate Edition. Does... Yes. You get RDO. You got RDO. Oh, my bad. I don't know why they're making these wild hot sauces, Illy. Don't make no sense, partner.
There's only 700 of these made, all right? And your boy got one, okay? It's already open.
Country accent only.
We debuted
I got you.
on the Dame Drops video when we went to Chili's and we tried it out there.
Need to get a voice mod for a female voice? Mine is going to be... How's this one?
This one's gonna be mine. Howdy, partner. Run your pockets. Welcome to the Big Titty Bandits. Want 'em? Give me all your money, buddy. Does that work? That's gonna be mine. But I can find another one.
Sounds bad? Okay. I'll figure it out.
It with some Taco Bell and washed it down with some Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Don't you agree? All right, so let's shake.
Video's cool, and I'm the weird chat guy.
Oh,
yes.
My goodness.
Yes, you are, gross.
Top. Man. All right. This right here.
Should nowhere near female voice?
Chicken.
Voice mod says it's a girl named Alice.
You can see that. But yo, we about to put some
Here we go.
Mountain Dew
Let me see it.
Blast hot sauce on it, okay? Oh yes. Yes. That's what I'm.
That doesn't look good. Does it? It does not look good. Sounds like Alexa smoking cigarettes, partner. Is it because I lowered my voice? What if I was just like...
Howdy, partner. Run your pockets, buddy. This is a robbery. I need all of your money.
That is such a natural shade of blue. It just doesn't look good. I don't know how you could just... I don't know how he's going to do this. I've seen him do some wild stuff like Thick Water, but I don't know about this one. What the fuck? Decided to play on a 3070 Ti versus my PS5. Yes. It looks good. It's getting closer. I can slightly hear it. Okay. It does look like a blue Jolly Rancher. Look at it. It like completely... I don't know.
Oh my gosh. It's a little thin looking for like hot sauce. You know your boy's a hot sauce aficionado, but we gonna try it.
My boy ate like half that taco in one bite. Melted blue Jolly Rancher except tastes like spicy Baja Blast. He didn't really tell me what it's going to taste like. He should have tasted it before putting it on the taco. I need to get $50 more to form the gang, but I'll get that done in like an hour. I'll do so. I have to do the solo part, and then we'll be good. I'll help get some money, too. I'm trying not to be discriminating, so I'm just stay quiet. Just saying, from looking at this guy, I'm going to trust his opinions on food. Would you? Would you, though? He is fat. Sorry. I mean, yeah.
I like it.
I don't think this is the good wet. You have to taste. Oh, my bad. Bad screenshot.
Heat.
Ew. Oh, Christ. You said thank you. He said sweet heat.
Oh, excuse me. Had to put the wrapper under it. I was making a mess. Yeah, it's like a sweet heat, folks.
His voice is saying good. His face is saying, oh, hell no. Yeah. Like, these eyes don't say that this is good, right? Like, I don't think he's actually enjoying this.
Good. It's not that hot. I would say it's like kind of a mild taste. It tastes like...
I don't watch people eat. Yeah, I just need the...
Like Baja Blast.
Let's get to the chugging.
It's time to wash this down.
Put it in the boot. Let's do it. You know what we're here for. You know what we're here for, Badlands. Yeah, put it in. Put it in the boot. Let's go. Mukbang, it is.
That's what I'm talking about. I haven't done a Baja Blast chug in some time, all right?
Is he about to...
I think it's time to do it. Now that
Oh.
I got
What the fuck is the point?
And a real Baja Blast.
It's gorgeous on max settings on my 2070 Super, so I know it's going to look amazing for you.
Now it's time for the chug.
About to start downloading it?
So,
Yes.
If you're ready.
Cut it off? No. You don't see the chug? Oh, he didn't put the hot sauce in it. We're good.
Ready.
Looks like bleh.
Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
Come on, Badlands. Okay, good. Yeah, he didn't. I thought he was going to. Jesus. 9 seconds. 9 seconds. Damn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
God.
Love it. I love it.
All right.
699 still out there, all right? So if you can find one and you love...
That's wild. That's wild. Just one stipulation for RDO. Your online character has to be female to join the gang. We're the Big Titty Bandits. True. We are. You know my girl is flat-chested. Hey. You know, we're going to point weapons at people to make them acknowledge it regardless. You know, that's what we're doing here. You know? That is what we're doing here. Tig bitty bandits. What if I got big titties and I'm not a female? That's a good question. That is a good question. Does that count for the big titty bandits? That is something I didn't think about, Chili. Perfectly normal. Yes, perfectly normal. Points gun. Say my tits are huge, right? Wait, let me do it like this. We'll be like...
Say my tits are huge right now, buddy. Say it.
Yes, it counts. Fuck, I made a big dick bandit. That's our rivals. Those are our rivals, you know? So, I'm gonna punch him in the esophagus. You know, that is, those are our rivals. So, watch out, Braden. Tell your gang to watch out, buddy. You know? I gotta change? Oh, okay, yeah. Change it, and then we're good. That's even better. Fucking disgusting. Yeah, you gotta change. Yeah, watch your dicks. I still can't believe there's Baja Blast hot sauce. That's wild to me. Guys, join my crazy gang on crack. I love the why so serious emote. I noticed you like that one a decent bit. I've noticed that. I've noticed you like that one quite a bit, you know. I need to make a female character. I forgot about that aspect. I want to make her look crazy. Like someone who you're scared of on sight. You know? Come on, bruh. The Dark Knight is my most watched theater movie. Is it? I've seen it a lot, actually. 8 times in theater. I only saw it 1 time in theater. And then... Can you have multiple characters in RDO? Let me see. I'll see right now. Hold on. I have the game. Well, I just closed it, but hold on. Let me go to the launcher. About to find out. It's connecting to Rockstar. I think you can have mini characters in RDO. I'd imagine so, right? Like, I'd imagine so. I'll see, I'll confirm. You know, I'm opening it just to confirm for scientific reasons. I saw Lord of the Rings, Return of the King 10 times in theater, and I'm a nerd. The reason I didn't watch Lord of the Rings in theaters is because 3 hours is, not that I hate Lord of the Rings, because I actually love it, but 3 hours is a long time for me to just sit and watch something, you know? I'm someone who has to like watch a little bit, get up and do something, watch some more, get up and do something, you know? It's boring? No. Lord of the Rings is actually great. Heath Ledger was the main reason I saw it so many times. He was so good. Rest in peace, bro. He was so good in that movie. He's the reason why we keep getting all these Jokers now, because they keep trying to capture what he did. You know? That movie was so good, though. It's my favorite superhero movie of all time. It's my absolute favorite. Dark Knight was just, oh, so good. Same. It's just too good. Haven't had a good Joker since? Yeah, we haven't. I'm gonna start doing my skippity dance, partner. I think I need to. See, that's my other character. I need to delete character, I think. Yeah. Skratsx, yo, what's up, Sheps? Happy birthday, my boy. Happy birthday, Sheps. Spider-Man 2? Good. I love that one. I do love that. I want to kill orcs. I don't think there's orcs in this game. That would be crazy. I have to make a character for it, but I'll make a character for online later. Thanks so much, fam. Yes, happy birthday. Oh yeah, the standalone Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix was good. You're right. You're right, Matt. That movie was good. But like in a movie where Batman, like a Batman movie, I don't think we've had a good one since, unfortunately. I think we need some time away from the Joker, to be honest. I hated the Joker. Did you? Did you hear that they're making the second one a musical? Is that true? I heard it's going to be a musical. This is I googled it, and this is exactly what I just got. This is what I'm seeing. And I don't know if I want to watch that. Just got a Taco Bell ad. Damn. Badlands Chugs. Badlands Chugs is he's infiltrating my stream. He's infiltrating my stream, unfortunately. It's unfortunate. I'll make my online character and I'll do the solo part, and then we can get it going. Chefs, we're taking you to strip club? Yes. For some reason, whenever I go to theaters, I always get sleepy or just fall asleep. It's probably the atmosphere, right? Especially now that you got the big cut, like the reclinable chairs. I can see how it would be a little difficult to stay awake. You know? I can understand that. Happy birthday, Sheps. Yes. Happy birthday, Sheps. Big happy birthday. Big happy birthday to Sheps. I don't go to the movies for real. I haven't been in a while. I like watching movies at the house. Just boring. I like watching movies at the house. Not that I'm a big movie person. That also kind of contributes to it. I'm not the biggest movie person. So like the last recent movie I saw was Everything Everywhere All at Once. Did I say the order right? I think I did. But I saw it at my house. So, you know. But I'm not like the biggest. My local theater closed, so now I have to go 2 hours away. Yeah, I would just not go at that point. That's a chore. Why the fuck a small bag of popcorn is $8? That's another reason why I'm not a big movie person. They tax you. They do tax you. You know? Plus, I think I heard that is it AMC or Cinemark, where they're trying to increase the price of tickets for seats as they get better. You know? So, like, how much is a movie ticket? AMC, it is. I've seen 16 films in theaters this year. Sightline, yeah, it's for better sightlines. Mm-hmm. Matt, what's your favorite movie you've seen this year? What's your favorite one? I just haven't been like my friend is a big movie guy. I've just never been like the biggest, I need to see it in theaters guy. You know? With the exception of Marvel movies for a while. Oh, AMC. With the exception of Marvel movies for a while, I just didn't really go. Like, there are certain movies I felt like I had to see in theaters, but now, not so much. Not so much. I was working at Blockbuster when The Dark Knight came out. That had to be wild when it came to the store. And all the promo material, Air John Wick 4, haven't decided. Ooh, I forgot John Wick is coming out. Or is out. I forgot. I was going to ask Snow, because Snow went to go see the new Mario movie. I was going to ask him how it was, but he said his niece Peter pants 30 minutes in, so they had to leave. So, I don't get a review from him on that, unfortunately. But I think Alu said, his friend said it was good. When I saw Age of Ultron when I was 9 or something, I was like, this shit was ass and fell asleep. I think there's like one movie that I've actually walked out of. And I think it was like an old school Planet of the Apes movie with my dad. I was out of town and decided to go to a theater and saw John Wick 4. Best John Wick movie in my opinion. Okay, that is high praise. I gotta see it. I have to. Oh, my theater's one of the reserved seating ones. Mario, super entertaining. Not necessarily a great movie. So, okay, did they explain away the voice, Matt? Because that's what bothers me. That's the only thing where I was like, the voice is weird. The voice is what made it weird for me. But I don't know. It looks like it'd be interesting. And I like that there's Rainbow Road in it. I did love Rainbow Road in Mario Kart. But it just threw me out. John Wick 4 is the best action movie since Mad Max Fury Road. Okay. That is high praise. I am going to have to see it. Voice won't bother you? Okay, perfect. That's all I was worried about. Because the moment I heard Chris Pratt instead of the Mario voice that you get used to, I was weirded out. I was weirded out for some reason. But now I feel better about it. Okay. So I gotta change my big dick bandit to a big titty bandit? Yes, sir, you do. You do. You know? Because you gotta fit the aesthetic, you know? We can't be the big titty bandit and one guy with a big dick bandit. You know what I'm saying? Like, Can it live up to the 90s version of Super Mario Bros? Gotta go from bulge to bust. Exactly. The Super Mario Bros in the 90s, because I was a little kid, it scarred me. I haven't seen it recently, but I remember seeing that on like the OG Disney Channel. And I was like, oh, I like Mario. That was the point. Yeah, this movie right here. This movie. This was wild. This movie scarred me as a kid. It was, I missed it. Where is it? This right here scarred me, man. It was a fever dream, bro. It really was. It was like the creators took acid and was like, all right, here we go. Koopa, that is what it is.
They're on the trail of a kidnapped princess.
Say my tits are big, bitch, and if they say no, just bop their ass with a 45 long coat. Exactly. Yeah, that works too.
Power to
It was just, this movie was so crazy. Bowser with the blonde straight back too. Shit was ass. Man, Killmonger, it was so crazy. I just remember being a kid because they get you with the name. You're like, oh, I love Mario 64. Why wouldn't I love this? And then I watched it. And I just remember sitting there like, what am I watching? What is this? This is not the Mario I know. I forgot Danny DeVito was in the movie. They should remake this movie, actually. Why not? What they should do is, imagine if they put out the Mario trailer that we saw with Chris Pratt, right? And everyone goes to the theaters, and it's a remade version of that. Mario who smokes hella cigarettes. Exactly. Man, that movie was crazy. Wild. And so when people go, I'm gonna see the Mario movie, I get like those childhood feelings of being scared back, you know? Man, what an experience. I need more people to experience that movie. To be honest, if I had to experience it, I feel everyone should experience it. That's probably mean, but I need them to experience it just as I did. And so they should clickbait everybody to the movie theater. They really should. Let me pull it up there. Like, pull up an image. Stream the whole movie as your first kick stream. We should. We should. That would be the way to do it. You just see Killer Croc staring into your soul. Exactly. Like, here's what we do. We entice them to the movies with this, right? They're like, oh, I want to see this. And then when the movie starts, this is what they get. And then lock the door so they can't leave and they have to watch the entire movie. You know, that's really the way to do it, to be honest. More people they should just remake it. Same bad costumes, but better film quality. God, that was amazing. Bowser's literally Killer Croc. Yeah. Ivy Torrance got you on the copy too? Yes. Like, show them. Just show them this. This Bowser. God, I wish I was in the meeting to see who greenlit this. Like, who was like, man, they're gonna love this movie. This is the greatest movie they're gonna see. You know, they love Mario. It's super popular. So this is the Bowser they're all waiting for. You know? That's the Bowser they want. Crazy. What a time. I wish we were making more bad movies like that, though, to be honest with you. We should be making more like that. Draco Malfoy, but he has hella crack in his ass. Exactly. This fit with all the other movies at the time. You ever see Tank Girl? No. What is that? What is Tank Girl? I have never heard of this movie. Tank Girl is a 1995 American science fiction film by Rachel Talalay. Ice-T's in this movie? What? Is there a trailer? I need to see a trailer for this movie. Ice-T not in Law & Order SVU? Hold on. I need to see this. Installing? Let's go! Like, I've never heard of this. Classic 90s intro, though. Classic. Let me see if there's like people in this. This movie's a fucking classic mindfuck of the 90s. We need more of those kind of movies, to be honest. No more sequels or prequels. Let's just get some random crazy shit out there. What? Okay. Encino Man 2? I've never heard of that either. Encino Man, my bad. Encino Man 2. You know what the thing about this trailer is? It does not tell me anything that this movie's about. I still couldn't explain this to people. I can't. This is an accurate trailer? Oh. I'm watching it and I'm just like, what? Is this some Lazy Town shit? Oh, God. Yo. It kind of does remind me of Lazy Town. You can't explain the movie even after watching it. Is that John Wick? It is. That's John Wick 4. So, I need to see Encino Man 2. Or just Encino Man. That was No Doubt. What is this? How have I never seen this? Hold on. I've never seen Encino Man either. It looks crazy. Okay, find a better one with Ice-T first. Okay. Let me see. Let me go back. Tank Girl, Ice-T. Okay, he should be in this video. Oh man, this screen right here. God. Ice-T looks like a nightmare kangaroo, does he?
There's no law. No mercy.
You're gonna really love this one.
Okay. Just you wait. I'm just...
There are 3 million liters of water underneath the blue dunes, and you will retrieve it.
You're gonna take all the water in the earth?
To 1. And that's just the way she likes it.
My, my.
Yo, what's up, boss?
Talented.
What's up?
Hi, feeling a little inadequate?
She'll be fun to break.
I like pain.
Lori Petty.
Waiting to see Ice-T.
Ice-T.
Wait. This is Ice-T? This is Ice-T right here? Right. That's Ice-T? Whoa. That's not what I pictured. You gotta watch that movie, man. It's hilarious. I have to. This would be like a perfect movie night movie. What is this? Wow. Wow.
Gonna get us all killed.
And Malcolm McDowell.
Just how many of my men did you
What?
United Artists Pictures presents.
What did I come back to? So do you know who Ice-T is? You know Ice-T? Apparently he was in this 90s movie Tank Girl, and this is him. This is Ice-T. And so they're telling me he's in this movie, and I was just waiting for, like Law and Order SVU Ice-T. And this is him. This right here is Ice-T. I was not ready for this. And now I have to watch it. I have to. This was pre-SVU. But this was post-rapping, right? The thing is, like, Ice-T was a rapper. Right? He had another movie my buddy had on VHS. I gotta know what it is. Just come back. What the fuck am I looking at? This is Ice-T, Glitch. It was his porno. I've seen Coco. Oh. Like, this is Law and Order SVU rapper Ice-T.
vote around, you're gonna get us all killed.
That's Ice-T. Yeah. Listen, you can hear him. Listen.
Around, are you going to get us all killed?
That's him.
Just how many of my men did you kill?
United Artists Pictures presents.
Did they put makeup on him? Yeah. Look. The nose gives it away. That's it. Everything else, that's pure iced tea right there, you know? This is so...
You're going to get us all killed.
Man, he's a whole kangaroo. I need to Google his whole costume. I'm going to look at this costume.
United Artists Pictures presents.
Just say, I won.
I thought that was his natural look for a second there.
Tank Girl.
What's it like knowing you're about to die?
You don't!
Ice-T did the soundtrack too. Damn. That's, hold on, I gotta see this. Ice-T Tank Girl. Made him look like a live action Cat in the Hat. That's what I'm saying. I was looking at him like, damn, he ugly. Wait, the trailer didn't do it justice. Hold on. Is there another picture of him? This is yo, wow, that's Ice-T. I didn't know. I have to watch this movie, bruh. This is great. How have I never heard of this? He better have got a nice paycheck. He had to. Damn. Final level. No. Damn. I just can't picture him doing this role. I just can't picture it. I'm still kind of not believing this. I have to watch this movie. You're welcome. Thank you, Curse. Like, thank you. Thank you. What the fuck? Who would have known? The 90s was a great time, man. I'm sad I didn't see this movie or even hear of it. I just watched the Cats movie. That was absolute dog shit. What Cats movie? Anytime I show someone this version of Ice-T, I always think, like, when you get the boss skin after beating him, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's, man. Look up the Cats movie. It's nightmare fuel. Okay, let's see. Wait a minute. This movie? Why'd you watch this? James Corden played in it? Didn't my Idris dirty in this? Idris Elba's in this movie? What? What is this? This feels just like the Ice-T thing. What? Why did he do this movie? This feels the same as this. He had to get a bag. He had to. He absolutely had to get a bag. Look at James Corden's character. Okay. What is this? Ever seen Idle Hands? No, I didn't. Shadow Legends bag? Exactly. It has to be. It has to be. What is this? Why do people do... What is this? What is Idle Hands? In Paris, the French production of Cats won a Molière Award. The play, right? Not this. Not this. Like the stage play, right? The play, yeah. Because this can't win awards. Hold on. You know what we have to do. Luckily, yeah, there's no way. All right, here we go. We're doing this. We're here. Let's see. God, this looks terrible. I like watching bad movies. I mean, that's cool. What's the worst bad movie you've seen? Is it this? This is Nightmare Fuel. It's terrible. It looks bad. You know what they're going to do next? They're going to take this. They're going to take this concept and apply it to Aristocats. Remember that movie? Aristocats? They're going to do it with that. Furries on dope? Yeah, this is a furry's dream movie. What in God's holy name is this? This is Cats. You know the play Cats? They made it a movie. And Idris Elba's in this. The movie that's a 0 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10 is Moonfall. I'm still scared from seeing this. You saw this movie? That's what I would rate this movie. Thank you, Beat Man. Don't even speak that into existence. Yeah, Questlove is directing the... Yeah, Questlove. 100%. Moonfall is a masterpiece. I've never heard of that. Oh, exclamation mark Bean. Can't forget that. We love Bean Man around here. We do. This... Moonfall is so bad, I've never seen it. Check Twitter DMs? Okay. I'm waiting for Idris to show up. I never saw this, thank fucking God. That's all I gotta say about Cats. There he is. Jennifer Hudson's in this movie too? What? Jennifer Hudson? Taylor Swift's in this movie? How did I never hear about this? They got all the people I don't know in this movie. You missed Jason Derulo? Did I? Where was he? Wait. James Corden. Judi Dench. Jason Derulo's in this movie? They had to be giving out bags in this movie, right? They done got everybody. Wow. Who wants free money? Just take it. It had a budget of $95 million. They gave people big bags to be in this fucking movie? 100%. I can't take this seriously. I can't, like, Jennifer Hudson is singing her heart out right now. And I can't take it seriously because she looks like a furry in this. $73 million budget? Box office. Oh. Wow. Wow. Choreographer of Hamilton did this. My God. I can see how this would be nightmare fuel. Like,
are you going to try for a different life?
It's got a solid 19%. How, like, that's supposed to be a serious emotional moment, and I just can't. The directors of this film owe Rebel Wilson and James Corden a formal apology. They owe a lot of apologies. What's next, dogs? No, I'm telling you. What's going to happen is they're going to take that concept, right? They're going to take that concept, and they're going to make it Aristocats. I'm telling you. It's going to be Aristocats. Just imagine, we're going to get... Let me pull up a picture of those cats. So I'm going to just look at James Corden. So we're going to have this song playing. Hello?
Well, little lady, let me elucidate here.
Let me just fast forward a little bit. We're going to get that with this. Stop, don't put that out there. You need to watch Moonfall. It's a 10 out of 10, 0 out of 10. Don't listen to any of these people. Nah, trust me. Just imagine it.
With a square in the act, you can set music back.
We're just gonna.
I've heard some
That's what we're getting. Unfortunately. By the way, Aristocats, top tier movie. Don't do that to him, bruh. I gotta watch the trailer. Or you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna mess up a Goofy movie. Holly Berry's in Moonfall. Holly Berry's in this movie.
If you're watching this, then you know by now a huge problem is.
This is it, right?
An emergency meeting has been called at our usual place immediately.
Aristocats had a lot of isms. Yes, it did.
I've made a shocking discovery. I need you to get me in touch with NASA immediately.
Well, NASA and I aren't really on.
So I'm guessing the moon is gonna fall.
Oh, that'll change. When you tell them that the moon is out of orbit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Made sense. The moon is quite literally gonna fall.
To panic. I'm not crazy.
Why are they lying about all this?
Every early Disney thing had a lot of isms. Yes.
What did he say?
This was happening before NASA.
I haven't watched Moonfall, but I heard horrendous things. Yeah, Legate's just said it's the 10 out of 10 of 0 out of 10 movies. Worst best movie, don't listen to these people. But The Room is worse, I promise. The Room.
An
Okay.
intelligent entity. We're planning a mission to attack this thing. I'm asking you for your help.
The Amazing Bulk trailer? What is that?
I need you to be brave.
I need you to be brave, but the moon is literally falling out of the sky.
I think it is. Suit up.
You have got a big gravity wave coming your way.
This movie was trash? Oh, hi, Mark.
Gravity wave?
Of course, you've seen Moonfall?
We're underwater, guys!
Just got my first ad in years. Oh, yeah, you're not subbed anymore.
What's the plan?
Save the moon, save Earth.
Hey, what are you doing?
Okay.
It's flying itself!
Amazing Bulk trailer next. Got you.
Wait for it. Let's go, you son of a.
What? Where did that come from? I thought the moon was falling, not there was like...
Everybody, hang on!
I'm gonna get you home.
The bag... Yeah, like, where did the space worm come from?
It's on airplane mode.
Jesus. What in the world? Where did a space worm come from? I thought the moon was just falling. This just looks bad. I don't even have to. Still on the ad? Damn. Damn, Legate, I'm sorry. Sorry. This is like when you first got here. I don't know if I want to watch The Amazing Bulk. I gotta see The Room. The Room. Gotta turn down your ads, man. I don't control that. That's Twitch. Or my yes, your DM. Let me close all these cats tabs. This. Close all these tabs. We don't need these open anymore. It's about cats? Okay. Team America.
Jesus, titty fucking Christ, I could have sworn she was telling the truth.
That's why they call it acting. Come on, we gotta find Lisa.
I was 19 years old when the musical Cats came to our town. I couldn't wait to see it. After the show, I was asked if I wanted to go meet some of the performers backstage. Man, I was thrilled. But when I got back there, they were drunk and out of control.
I can see why.
Rumpuscat and McCavity kept feeling up my leg. I tried to leave, but Rumpelteazer held me down, and I was raped by Mr. Mistopheles.
No! Damn. Cats, man. How dare they? How dare they? The Amazing Bulk trailer. Bugatti, are you still in ads or no? Are you still in ads? Because I don't know which one it is. Look up The Room. Is it this one? Is it this one? This is The Room? 2020? And which bulk one is it? This one? You're killing me, Lisa. Is it this one? I don't know which bulk ad it is. Top one? Okay. Okay. God, I know this movie's going to be bad already. Look at this. What is this? What? What is this?
Well, this whole crime scene is one big mystery now.
There was a double homicide last night.
I love the green screen.
Where'd you find it? A better question is, how'd you lose it? We were at the amusement park, hopped a subway, and a guy popped out.
The Room is on top? Okay, I got you.
I think our Henry...
An African movie or a Tubi movie? This has got to be a Tubi movie, right? Is that Thanos? It is.
The government will stop funding this project unless you start showing some goddamn results.
I know you're not gonna believe me, but your dad tried to kill me.
Step aside!
My father.
There is a madman.
What is this?
We believe he is sending a rocket to the moon and plans to blow it up.
We're gonna have to take you down to the station.
Oh, it has a moon tie-in.
What the hell is that?
Well, it ain't Barney the Purple Dinosaur.
We're sending you...
I got scared. I just got scared when he moved his hand there. Tom goes to the mayor.
Now I shall eliminate you.
This is crazy. What? What is this?
Look out!
Tim and Eric. It has to be. This can't be a real movie. This can't be a real movie. It can't. Okay, you said The Room is the top one? I got you.
Hi, babe.
This, right? This is a full movie. I've watched it.
What is it?
Bugatti for sure hangs out on the dark side of the internet. 100%. Also, Rubber. So Matt said this is The Room.
Babe, I have something for you.
What is it?
Just a little something.
The perfect relationship.
I used to know a girl. She had a dozen guys.
Is this a green screen video somebody made? I think so. Oh my god, not this shit. You've seen this too?
What a story, Mark. Yeah, you can say that again.
Amazing Bulk had a budget of $14,000. That guy is D.B. Cooper.
Any secrets from me?
Women change their minds all the time.
Turn this up.
He's my best friend.
Why, Lisa? Why?
James Franco made a movie about this movie?
To me, please.
Really?
Girls like to cheat like guys do.
What makes you say that? You are lying. I never hit you.
I don't know. I'm just thinking.
That was W gaslighting.
Tear me apart, Lisa.
Is about to end.
You really don't know, do you?
Maybe I know more than you think I do.
Oh shit. Amazing Bulk actually profited? Really?
He's changed her mind about you.
Is the last thing he did before he got canceled? I'm curious. I gotta see it.
Satisfied you will come to me. Get out my house. I kill you. I'll bring him in full
What is... Stupid comments will be put into pockets.
I don't understand anything, man. Leave your stupid comments.
The disaster artist. Money shall be wanted.
Where's my fucking money, Denny?
But in the end... People actually buy it to watch it. The Amazing Bulk. This is where the meme came from. No, legit. The guy's the famous robber and plane hijacker, D.B. Cooper. Really? Yeah, that's what James Franco movie's called. Was it worth it?
God, forgive me.
Wow. The Room. Wow, they didn't stay with the same font.
You know,
This was rated the worst movie ever made.
hey, love is blind.
Worse than that one we just watched? I gotta see the list now. the worst movie ever made. That's crazy. That was bad. Let's go to Wikipedia and Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, I'm not going to Wikipedia because I don't care about movies made in the 30s. I just don't. The Amazing Bulk is a masterpiece. I mean, it's something. It is something. You know? I don't know what I'd call it, but it's definitely something. Why is Rotten Tomatoes not? Okay, here it is. This is the list of the worst movies ever made. Number 1, Ballistic X vs. Sever. Not Eddie Murphy. This movie's considered one of the worst. I never saw this. 1,000 Words. John Witherspoon's in this movie too. There's a big theory around D.B. Cooper and how this director just showed up out of nowhere to make and star in his own movie, The Room. Really? There's like Room lore now? Have I seen any of these? I saw this movie. Is Velociraptor on this list? Let's see. No. Not that I know of. Maybe it didn't all load. Hold on. No. Wait a minute. There's a Winnie the Pooh horror movie? What list is this? This is, and welcome in, Marissa. This is the worst movies ever made. I gotta see the trailer for the Winnie the Pooh horror movie. Hold on. I have to. The Winnie the Pooh horror trailer. That's crazy. He dropping bodies. It was made after Winnie the Pooh lost his copyright. Oh, Moist Critical made a video about it. Velociraptor's legit? I've never heard of it. That came out this year. Yeah, this is new.
You know, you're the first person.
Okay, what the fuck?
Why am I so special?
Because soon we'll be Christopher and Mary Robin. You should be
Christopher Robin. Worst movies? Yes.
You will. Pooh, Piglet, Eeyore. We were friends for many years.
100 Acre Woods. Okay, so they're staying with the original concept. The beloved childhood characters.
Christopher, we need to leave. Now.
I really need to find out what's happening there, okay?
Check out the Velocipastor? Or the Velociraptor? Okay, I will. We're here. We're doing it. Pastor? Okay. Iron Sky?
This place is kind of cold. Did you say it has a pool? We need to go.
That's the best movie ever. I'm telling you, Rubber. Okay, I did say we'll do Rubber.
There's someone else outside.
This is crazy.
What was that?
Rubber is a theatrical. Why did that just pop up? That was weird.
We used to be friends. Why are you doing this?
Oh my god.
I would have never left, I swear. I swear.
Oh, bother. Yeah. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. That's crazy. How did that get greenlit? Okay. Acting 20 out of 10, I can see exactly. What do you think of the new Mario movie? I haven't seen it. Rubber. Have you seen it? Are you going to see it? Is it this one right here? Oh, we'll do the official trailer. 226 is the same. Snow said he saw 30 minutes of it. This is one of those real bad hub vid started. Not Winnie. The only way we can fight Winnie is by doing each other. You liked it, Strange? Did you see it? Really fun and great to watch? Okay. You know what's funny? That's how we got here. We were talking about the new Mario movie versus the original Mario movie. All right, here we go. Rubber. I take it this movie's about a tire. Meet Robert. Okay. All right, little tire. Big dreams. We love big dreams around here. Up. Damn. A little loud. The movie critics and Rotten Tomatoes are all dumb. They gave it such a low score. They always do. They always do. But it's so good. Quentin Dupieux.
Everybody, this is what our killer looks like.
Tire.
Wait. This is about a killer? I'll be back. Someone give me a sub. Up. This is about a killer tire? Bad shit wonderful. Karina Longworth. The tire kills people? No way, bro. No way this tire kills people.
Probably brandless.
It just...
Yes.
What? Wait, did he just say it's black?
Is it black?
He did say, is it black? It's like Chucky, but a tire.
I'm starting to like it.
Door just open.
Come on, be a good boy.
Fucking Professor X, that bird, seems racially motivated. I'm saying.
You get one of you guys with a flamethrower. Just...
And drops birds too? Damn. Yeah, this tire's out of control. Yep, sounds like 90% of our current police force. No way, bro.
Weirdos.
Oh shit, she fucked up. She fucked up. Oh shit. Wait. Was there a turkey in that room? How'd you find this? Matt suggested it. Morning, Taylor. How are you? Why is there a turkey in this room? What does it have to do with anything? I thought we were talking about killer tires. What is happening? Gobble, gobble. I'm so confused. How's everything with you? Pretty good. I just discovered a movie about a tire that's a serial killer. It went to on demand before it went to theaters. That's crazy. Oh, bad. That was wild. What? This movie's great. Okay. Velocipaster trailer. Let's find it. I gotta watch that movie ASAP? Yeah, you have to. This movie's recent. Let's watch it. Oh god, that one's insane. Is it? Finally a good movie. Is this it?
They followed me home. The Velocipaster. A troubled priest.
How long has it been since your last...
Yes.
Oh,
so ashy day.
I do drugs, sell drugs, murder people. The Velocipaster.
So I figured he was a velociraptor as a pastor, right? I figured that. But he kills people at confessionals by turning into a raptor when they commit horrible crimes. Right? Am I getting that right? My last recommendation, Big Shark. Okay, after this one. I've asked him to play Fortnite too much, and now he doesn't respond. Sad. Wait, what? Were you asking me? Or should I have to tell Lino? Oh, Lino. It's a pastor who can shapeshift. Lino. Yeah, he's not. He's not.
Beautiful girl with a dark past.
Last night was amazing.
to a dinosaur and eat some.
What? Dinosaurs.
You guys talk all the time about helping people. This might actually be the first time in your life you can.
By what? Killing people?
Yes.
Wait, that's what it looks like?
This might actually be the first time in your life you can.
By what? Killing people?
Yes.
That's the raptor right here. This guy right here. This trailer looks like a fever dream. High production value. Something with my man V-neck. Yeah, this V-neck is crazy. He's also not wearing the pants. This V-neck is crazy. You're right.
By what? Killing people?
Yes.
Oh. This production value is insane. We should produce something better than this. Is that a dress? I think so. I think so. That V-neck is giving Dominican Poppy vibe. Where'd the ninjas come from? Why'd ninjas just show up? That is so random. Why are there ninjas? Exactly. They said, you know what would make this movie better? That's part of the story. They're like, you know what would make this movie better? Not only do we have a pastor who can transform into a velociraptor, but what if we included ninjas? Thoughts? I can't spoil it for you. You have to watch the movie. I have produced better things than this. I believe so. I feel like my Spanish video projects in high school were better than this movie.
That's insane, Doug. God does not want people dead.
Oh, I think God wants a lot of people dead.
Okay. Ninjas and World War II soldiers. Okay. It's true. What was the other one? Let me go up. What did Matt say? Big Shark. Okay. Big Shark. That's why God has a World War II smallpox. Is it this one? This is recent? Big Shark? Why is it showing me an Aristocrats thing? It's got to be this one, right? I'm clicking it, trusting that this one's it. Oh, you've seen it? Big Shark? Okay. Here we go. Big Shark time. I'm just too curious at this point. You've never seen it? Okay, it is this one. Okay, good. That's if I was in a deathbed-like state and my last wish for you to throw ass, would you do it? How would I know you're in your deathbed? Damn. You can run. You can hide. But that did not save you. World's most vicious hunter. Okay. This is already better than Captain Marvel. But you can't Big Shark. What is this? What is this? Look at this. Look at this editing. How the fuck did this shark get up here? I love the green screen. How did we get here? Never mind, it's already better than Batman vs. Superman. Yo, what is this? What? Big Shark. Okay. Okay. Coming soon. You know what's crazy? Do you see what year this is? That's this year. The first text on the trailer said revolutionary. It did, didn't it? Oh, no, hold on. Not that one. It's a visionary. From visionary director. Jaws walked so this movie could run. He's a visionary.
Who's ready for a fight?
The creative genius behind The Room. No wonder. They made The Room. Yo, what's up, Saul? How are you? Good morning. The next epic. Oh, shit. You can run. You can hide. Uh-huh. How are you, Saul? But that won't save you. The world's most vicious hunter. They forgot the word from. Wait. I missed that part. Has come to the bayou. In the bayou. I did not eat her. I did not. Oh, hi, shark. And only wants one thing. Blood. Oh, shit. Not the big shark. Big shark. Doing great. How are you? I'm pretty good. Someone say blood? Sharks cannot exist in the bayou. Exactly. Its copyright ran out. Anyways, I don't know. I didn't see your other thing. My mom already has the proper documentation for your social media to let you know the day I'm on my deathbed. I mean, maybe. Good morning to the chat as well. Because like ecosystems. Yeah. The copyright ran out. This shit just hit the fucking ollie down the street. Remember, hey, no animals were harmed during this. So, we're good there. Thank God. We should copyright this? Yeah, the copyright ran out. Should we buy it? As a stream, let's copyright Big Shark. So they now have to pay us to put this on. Wait. Have you ever seen Nick Cage losing his shit? No? Unironically, so down. Yes, no copyright strike for the music. Yeah, we're good. I'll pitch in 20. YouTube it now. Is it just called Nick Cage losing his shit? Yes? Okay. Oh, here it is. I'll pitch in 20 or so. Bet. I think that's all we need, to be honest. $40. Tommy's a true visionary? God, he is, Matt. Honestly, Matt, those contributions that you gave were top tier. Top tier recommendations. Game. In a second, Legate. In a second. We'll get to the game. Hold on.
I'm a vampire! Put it in the right file. According to alphabetical order.
We're getting there. That's funny because he's a vampire now. True.
What am I, a fucking retard, man? Am I a fucking retard? Oh! I know what this is. You're trying to stop me out because of this lazy little man you beat around.
Mm-hmm.
Vive la fucking France, man!
Is he method acting now? I think so. Oh, best actor? You know it. Nick Cage.
Never just goes away. That goddamn contract is
What the fuck is wrong with this man? This is acting, Strange. This is acting.
Fucking fuckers, fuck! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck Mexico! Horseshit.
Whoa.
Fucking yeah!
This is Ghost Rider.
Fucks, I hate you both. I should fucking both. Just right now, I should fucking kill you fucking both!
Have you ever been dragged to the sidewalk and beat until you
pissed blood? Now, fuck you, fuck!
Why is he? This is the man behind Big Daddy and Kick-Ass. Is it bad? I used a fanny pack mod in Fallout 4, and one of the mods had pictures of this man placed randomly everywhere. That's incredible. Did he say fuck Mexico? Yeah, he did. Listen, Nick Cage is a great actor, to be fair. He has some really good movies. And he's taken some crazy ones. I'm saying, bro, this man is nuts. He is. He is. I never knew how bad it was. I just watched the movie Joe with him in it, and it was fantastic. Where's Con Air Cage? Ooh. Damn. Damn. What movie is he in a bear suit in? This is more of a direction issue, in my opinion.
Bitches!
I can see that.
Bitches! Killing me won't bring back your goddamn honey!
How'd it get burned?
I cried a lot in that movie. I haven't seen Joe.
How'd it get burned? I don't know! Kill me!
Wicker Man. You know what makes me laugh about scenes like this, right? So you do this scene, you're just losing your shit, right? You're doing this, you're gonna hit cut, and you're like, oh, so anyway, how was your day? Good weather outside? Great? You just go like right back like nothing just happened here. You know, I paid to go see Wicker Man, walked out, right? Like, that's the part that makes me laugh about these. You can't see it well, but I wanted to show you anyway. In your DMs is a list of every time. Okay.
What is it? What is it? What is it? What is
I'll
it?
look.
What is it? Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Ah! Open my eyes! Eyes! Ah!
I can just see it. So anyway, what's for lunch? We good? Wickerbacher? This is freaking hilarious. What's up, JT? Best actor alive? Amen. What music is this from? I have no idea, actually. That was wild. That was wild. Now Jack Black is the best actor alive? I do like Jack Black. Music is from Requiem from a Dream. Okay, there it is. There it is. That's a fire movie. So good. Oh, ads. Yay. My fault. False. Man. That was wild. That was wild. I got you. Requiem for a Dream is one of the best movies ever made. I agree. That was wild, huh? What a ride. Oh, my knees already think we'll be hard. Oh, Sora needs a sub. That's what he's saying. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. No, Jack Black has some of the most iconic movies, making him the best. None of his movies have ever failed. You know? What's your favorite Jack Black movie, Strange? What is it? They need to show requirement. They need to show requirements. What just happened? Oh, Sora got timed out. I gave 20 actors better at least. They need to show requirements, Requiem a Dream, in Dare school class. I agree. I think you're missing the point. I can't type. No, I can't read. I'm not going to lie to you. I can't read. I didn't see what Sora said after that. Nacho Libre, then School of Rock. Respect yourself, Sora. Don't beg. Nacho Libre, then School of Rock, then Tropic Thunder. Tropic Thunder was so good. That's one of my favorite movies. And it definitely would not get made today, unfortunately. Unfortunately. You know? I love it, though. Oh, Shallow Hal, too. Why not? It's fun. Let me see. Damn. This is a long list, huh, Sora? Long list. This is why drugs are bad, kids. Plays Requiem for a Dream. I agree. That would be a good idea. Damn. This is quite a list. Quite a list. Unless we get Robert Downey to reply. Yeah, we can't get a remake of that unless he does it. See all the movies fire? Yo, what's up, Reg? What's up, Lino? What's up? How are y'all? What's up? What's good? Yo, what's up? What's up? I listened to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy so many times that someone says I love it. I think of Kanye. All right, yo. What's up? What's up? You never answered me? How are you? Yo, Legate, we got it. What are we doing today? What are we doing? I love this emote. I love it. Backshot emote. We just wanted to show some backshot love. I love it. Absolutely love it. Love it though. I love it, you know? Absolutely love. I'm back to back. Oh, man. That emote is so funny. Especially when you're just looking at it on the screen. No, but for real, my favorite actor is Chadwick Boseman. May he rest in peace. Rest in peace, man. Oh, God. It's so funny. I was in your sister's stream. It's good. Did you like it? Did you like it? Oh, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. What are we doing today? Oh, we had Jose's quest, right? Hosea? My favorite actor is Ryan Reynolds. He's the only person who makes me, Yo, Reg. Yeah, Hosea. Okay, I got you. Go on here. Hosea. Lil Jit is the greatest horse of all time. You damn right. There's no better horse than Lil Jit right here. He's such a good boy. He's a good boy. I love how random this stream is, you know? On a serious note, yes. He's not that little though. Yeah, he's a pretty big horse. Keep checking my phone because I'm making sure it's not raining. I haven't asked you recently. For what? How are you? I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. He's a workhorse. That he is. I'm actually pretty good. How is everybody? Like, seriously. Y'all good? How's life? Where's Jose? Have chat make your woman? Ooh. That's a good idea. Do we do that real quick? You're good? Make my online character? Do we do that? I could do that. My online character? Do you want to? Because I will. Like, I'll save right now. We'll go to online real quick. We'll be here till 2. Yeah, that's true. I got this weird taste in my mouth. Woke up that way. Probably from a change in diet from Ramadan. Probably, actually. Bro, I'll buy online if you play it. Strange. We're playing online and we're making a gang. Online should be done after the story. Like, we're playing online. We're making a gang. The Big Titty Bandits. So you have to make your character a woman. You know? We're a woman gang of the Big Titty Bandits. We call it the Gangbang Christians? Oh, no, we're the Big Titty Bandits. That's good, though. You know, you were close. Where is... Oh, he's right here. You gonna be a BBL? Let's finish the story first. Look, Legate, you know good and damn well we're not. We're so far away. A big-breasted Latina. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is Seamus. He's our new partner.
I ain't no.
And you guys all act like Southern gangbanging Christians, though? What do you mean? Like, in the Lord's name, put your fucking hands up, buddy.
Voices down. I don't want.
Name's gonna be Rosa.
Of course.
Stop talking about my wife, Strange.
Exactly. I'll tell you what.
Oh, crip. Act Southern, a gangbanger, and a Christian. Okay, I'll do my best.
Good day, Hosea. Good luck with your business dealings.
Listen.
All in one. I'll do my best.
Quick with his tongue, but I swear you can trust him and trust me.
Oh, crap.
You're not old, Seamus.
I'm old enough.
I'll do my best.
You know I ain't dead.
You don't trust idiots.
Exactly.
We're not idiots.
And she decided to take her husband's place in the gang after he was murdered by a rival gang.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's getting her get back for real.
Bob Crawford and his boys just
Rosa is going to spin back.
From upstate. It's in their barn. Now you go get that.
Just to steal and rob to get to give back to her 2 kids. I like that. Also, she's horny. Yeah, don't forget that part, Strange.
He's not just an acquaintance.
Don't forget that part.
But a cousin. By marriage. I also want to see if you boys got what it takes. Now, you survive that.
Where is he?
He's in a farmhouse just northwest of here called
But their kids were murdered by the police because she wouldn't give herself up. Damn.
I got that cream cheese coochie on lock.
Damn.
But don't kill nobody.
Now she rides with a group of other females to feel something.
But you're fine with us robbing your cousin.
What a story. And she's horny. There we go. That's what I was waiting for. Emotional
Let's go rob his cousin.
and real.
Marriage.
That's real. That's a good story. She's horny for apocalypse. Even better. Even better. How'd my horse get over here? What the fuck? What's up, legit? What's up? And Skratsx because we'll make her feel better.
Really? Lead the way.
True.
He said the place is
True.
just northwest of here.
Me?
Look out, Arthur.
You're the one who's been out gallivanting around here.
Wait.
That's what you call it.
Why did my...
Really, you've recovered from
They got that tongue game. Yes, sir. Why did my controller just vibrate? What happened? We're going over here. Just so I get the red off the map. TGS, yes, sir. Tongue game strong, you know what I'm saying? Here we go. Okay, now you and Apocalypse and Cursed needs a backstory because Cursed is in it. Cursed is the leader of the Big Titty Bandits. What is my backstory? I gotta think of one. Oh, you know what I'll do? Hold on. I got the perfect idea for this. Let's go to Google Bard. Easy sex worker turned gangster. I got tongue game too. Here's what we're gonna do. Look at it. It's time. Are you ready, Strange? We're gonna get my backstory from here. Still does sex work. Oh, even better. Give me a character backstory for a woman who is in a gang called the Big Titty Bandits. Let's see. But she kills him after. Yeah, she's like a Black Widow almost. I'm a text-based AI, and that is outside my capabilities. Damn it! Okay, hold on. All hope is not lost. Scammed. You gotta use ChatGPT. I know I was trying Google's out first. Man. You know? Boo, I was trying. Okay. I got you, I'll make it. Hold on, let me see. So ChatGPT says, I'm sorry, but I cannot fulfill this request as it contains inappropriate... Okay, hold on. Let me... Big... Okay, that's not working. Was in a group called the Big Chested Bandits. Maybe that'll work. Jesus Christ. I apologize for the previous inappropriate request. Here's a potential character backstory. Yeah, you can't say booby either. You have to say chested. Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. That's a good point, Legate. Hold on. That's a good point. Okay. Here we go. Are you ready? Give a backstory for a woman who is in a group based in 1899. Okay, ready? Here it goes. It's writing. We'll read it in a second. Damn, it's giving us a real story. Uh-oh. It's still writing. It's giving me a whole book. Oh, God. Okay. Here we go. It's writing a novella. It is. As a child, Amelia grew up in poverty in the outskirts of a small town in the Wild West. She was forced to work hard from a young age, doing odd jobs and helping her mother make ends meet. Despite the hardships, Amelia was always a feisty and determined young girl who refused to let her circumstances defeat her. As she grew older, Amelia's beauty and curves started to attract unwanted attention from the local men. She quickly learned to use her wits and her fists to fend off their advances, and became known as a tough and fearless young woman who didn't take any crap from anyone. She's got boobs. Amelia's reputation as a tough customer caught the attention of a group of female outlaws who called themselves the Big Titty Bandits. They were a group of women who had banded together to take revenge on the men who had wronged them in various ways. The bandits saw something in Amelia that they liked and invited her to join their ranks. Yo, this is good, and you should use this as an intro before we play. I 100% will. Amelia was initially hesitant, but the prospect of being part of a group of powerful and independent women was too tempting to resist. She joined the bandits and quickly proved herself to be one of the most valuable members. Her strength and her sharp mind made her an invaluable asset on heists and raids, and her charisma and her charm made her a beloved member of the group. Over time, Amelia became more than just a member of the bandits. She became one of their leaders. She took charge of the group's finances and operations and helped steer them towards bigger and more lucrative targets. Her sharp mind and her fearless nature made her a force to be reckoned with, and the bandits quickly became one of the most notorious outlaw gangs in the West. Despite the danger and the risk involved, Amelia never regretted her decision to join the Big Titty Bandits. She had found a family among these strong and independent women, and had finally found a place where she would truly belong. Damn! That's so cool. That was a good one. That was good. Good job. That was good. It was her chest. Yes. That's what they saw. It was her chest. Now do the backstory for our enemies, the Big Dick Bandits. All right. I need a safer word. Make a voice recording and play clips of us fucking shit up like a mini movie. Damn, we're so cool. Package it up and put it in the movie theater. I'm naming my character Amelia now, so it fits with this. Okay, so we need one for, what's the word? Big Bulge Bandits. Okay. I got you. Give me a backstory for an outlaw group. Large scrotum scoundrels, well-endowed male gang. Okay, called the Well-Endowed Male Gang. Here we go. Now turn around so we can see your backstory. In 1899, who are enemies with the other gang? Oh, yeah, that's right. Stop. You're right. I forgot that part. I forgot. Thank you for that. I forgot. Thanks, Legate. For an outlaw. Actually, let me just put it in here. Now, give me a backstory for a rival outlaw group of men called the Well-Endowed Male Gang based in 1899. Good? Okay. Let's see what it gives us. Let us see. I like this. It really is giving us a whole book, huh? Okay, here we go. Hold on, you know what we need? Hold on. Okay, hold on. The Good Gok Gunslingers. Interesting. Dastardly Dick Gang. That's what we should do. I'm going to make this. Let's go click the playlist here and let's lower this down. All right, that's better. As a group of male outlaws in the Wild West, the Well-Endowed Male Gang was formed with a strong sense of camaraderie and brotherhood among its members. They were a group of men who had been wronged in various ways by the society they lived in and had come together to take what they believed was rightfully theirs, with big dicks. The gang's leader, a man known only as Big Jack was a charismatic and imposing figure who commanded the respect of his men. He had been born into poverty and had spent much of his youth scraping by on the streets. It was during this time that he learned to rely on his physical strength and his quick wits to survive, and he quickly became known as a tough and formidable fighter. Oh, hold on. When Jack met the other members of the well-endowed male gang, he saw kindred spirits in them, men who had been oppressed and wronged by the same society that had cast him aside. Together, they set out to carve a place for themselves in the world, using their strength and cunning to take what they wanted. Unlike the big-chested bandits, or the big-titty bandits, who were known for their finesse and cunning, the well-endowed male gang was more of a brute force. They were feared for their ability to overpower anyone who stood in their way, and they were known for their violent and aggressive tactics. Over time, the rivalry between the two groups grew. The well-endowed male gang saw the big-titty bandits as a threat to their own dominance in the Wild West, and they began to target them in their raids and heists. The two groups engaged in many violent clashes, with neither group able to gain a clear advantage over the other. Despite their differences, the members of the well-endowed male gang were fiercely loyal to each other. They were a brotherhood of men who had come together to take back what was rightfully theirs, and they would stop at nothing to protect their own. Damn. Well, now we gotta be cunning and full of finesse. We do. Learn to rely on his dick. Yo, Jack versus started the big dick bastards. He did. This sounds better than the other one. I'm joining them. You think this sounds better than the big titty bandits? You think so? With their dicks. How many of us are in the big titty bandits? I know it's me, Matt, Cursed, you. Apocalypse, are you online? Do you have RDL? This is a great storyline. Make a stupid edit right now. What? I don't think I do. Okay. If you do, I'm for real joining the big dick bastards. God, they was really like, yo, this one sounds better than the big titty bandits. That's a good storyline. That's 5? I think, yeah. I think it's 5. I think so. That's a good storyline, huh? I like that. I'm driving a train right now. There we go. There we go. Now, who's the leader of the Big Dick Bandits or of ours? Of the Big Titty Bandits, it's Cursed. Cursed is the leader. Wait, like sexually? Oh, never mind. I mean, you still say congratulations. I need a physical description of Amelia. Give me a physical description of Amelia. The big dick, it's Big Jack. Big Jack. It's Big Jack, you know? Amelia. Let's see if they can give it to me in Red Dead Redemption 2 settings. Let's see. Oops, I typed the wrong parentheses. Oh, they're giving me the description. Okay, we're good. And Red Dead Online settings. That's what I need, yeah. In Red Dead Redemption 2 Online settings. Let's see. This music really makes that. It really gives the atmosphere, huh? It's typing it, by the way. In Red Dead Redemption 2 Online, Amelia still possesses her striking auburn hair that falls in loose curls down her back. Her bright green eyes still sparkle with intelligence and a mischievous glint, but her skin appears a bit more weathered and rugged from her time spent on the road. Amelia's tall and well-built figure remains with broad shoulders and curves that she's not afraid to show off. In Red Dead Online, she often wears more practical clothing to reflect her lifestyle as an outlaw on the run. Her outfit may consist of a leather jacket or duster coat worn over a simple shirt and trousers. She may also wear a bandana around her neck or face to conceal her identity while committing crimes. Despite the changes to her attire, Amelia still carries herself with confidence and grace, and her sharp mind and fierce determination make her a formidable opponent. Her years of experience as an outlaw have honed her skills in combat and survival, and she remains a force to be reckoned with in the Wild West. Damn. That's character development right there. I like that. I like that. That's character development. Oh, wait. I got to turn the music off. Turn the music off. That's pretty solid. That was pretty solid. Let's go, Lil Jit. Let's get to moving, shall we? Get a little gallop. You all right, boy. Big dick bandits or big dick bastards? Ooh, that's a good question. Which one do we prefer for the dudes? I feel like if we put bandits, we can also be like, you tried to steal our fucking names. All you changed was titties to dick. And that's why we're rivals too. Thoughts? What do you think?
To show some strong arm. That's usually how it
What do you think?
Yes, but you know how this works.
Come on, Hosea. That feller's a joke.
And that's why he's perfect. He won't cause us any problems.
Game time? You know it.
Spot defense wagons and coaches.
We got 2 solid hours of game time before I gotta get out of here.
Right. Come on, it's not like he's asking us to rob a bank.
I can rob a bank. I've robbed 2 of them.
Stagecoach from Seamus's old crooked cousin by marriage.
The bastard sounds way better. I'm good with it. I'm down. I'm down. Because they're all fatherless. True. Yeah. Go with bastards. With bastards. All right, boy.
So what's the story with that emerald?
2 requirements. No dad.
A little.
And big dicks. Yeah.
Seamus is sure scared of him.
Who said fatherless? Can I join? I'm fatherless.
Something strange about the place.
This way.
There used to be a saloon there, general store.
Big dicks.
Closed up. Money.
Sounds worth a look around.
For sure. Seamus also mentioned the rancher's daughter a couple of times. How he used to see her around all the time, but now she never leaves the house. Probably
that sucks. They do need sucking. Yeah. That's part of their goal. You know?
Seems Seamus does like to talk.
Hopefully not too much.
What do I do then? I mean, you could try to join, you know? You try to join. There we go. I thought he had more voice lines. It's not letting me talk to him. Whoever gifts me and Skratsx. I'm sure you'll get a gifted at some point. You know? At some point. Let's go, boy. Good boy. Good boy. Realistically, I'm not worried. Just find it funny. I feel you. Okay, so we're over here. Me and Jose still aren't cool after the last mission we went on.
We should go on foot from here.
After that last mission we went on, I just don't trust him.
Come on.
Hold on. Hello? Where's cargo? Oh, weapons. Weapons. Carbine or double-barreled shotgun. Let's go carbine. Was it cursed? I believe so. He's an old guy. He would have died from that bear with 1 claw, but he had a sniper. He could have popped one. I really never finished this game. Maybe I will when I get my new PC next month. Do it, JT. Need to say some nice things. He gets owies easy. It's funny because my character's name is John, so I can rename him or join BTB. There you go. See, it works out. We're going to go with Schofield and the double barrel. Actually, we'll do the carbine.
There's the house.
Just need to grab my guns.
Coach has to be in there.
Go on foot, my boy. I guess it's realistic for me to actually be holding the gun. I didn't think about that. Dastardly Dick Raiders. That's a good name. That's actually better. Is it realistic for me to ask you to whip it out? View items wheel. Use auto select kit and select your binoculars. Got it. Look through the home through your binoculars. Let's zoom in a little bit. See what they got going.
Nope.
Nah, is it? It is.
Okay. I reckon we could do it now. Sneak in, I'll get the coach. You can try the house. Or wait until morning when I'll head over, distract them by putting on a little show.
If it was a Viking game, it would also be called the Big Dick Raiders. True, it's versatile.
Get the stagecoach. What do you think?
Night.
Let's do it now.
Morning is more funny? Damn. Okay, hold on. I didn't save it. We gotta go night. I already chose night.
Let's go.
Whoops. Don't worry about it.
Maybe take a peek through the windows before you go in. Make sure it's all quiet.
That's a good point. Loot the fireplace in this home. It gives you like $200. Okay. Skratsx, yes. Hi. Hello. How are you? How's your day? Yo, Sora, is your shoulder feeling better or no? And go through the back door. Okay. Are they in? They're in the house, aren't they? Remember to always crouch as well? I gotta put my mask on too, right? I just have a feeling I'm gonna need that. You know what? Can't save. All right. In case you get a bounty. Yeah. I hate these ads. You know what? Here. I got y'all. I got y'all. Hold on. I got you.
Skratsx gifted a really
Yo,
Sora
Skratsx, thanks for the gifted. Huh,
Skratsx
thanks.
gifted a tier 1
That's so nice.
Really Sora.
Thanks.
Skratsx gifted legs
There we go.
underscore Eanius a subscription.
Yay,
Skratsx
thanks for the
gifted
gifted.
a tier 1 sub to legs
Ooh.
underscore Eanius.
I just subbed. Yeah, welcome back. So many choosing beggars in here. There y'all go. There y'all go. This door, right? There's not another door behind here? No, it's this door. Oh, shit. Of the house, $45. Got it. God, yay. Thank you, mess. Get out of this room. You said loot the fireplace? Not that one? Okay. Wait. What did it tell me to examine? Might as well take all the food. Behind you? Yeah, this one. Thanks for the gift? Absolutely.
Apocalypse 420.
Yo, Apocalypse, thanks for the 5. Thanks for the 5 gifted. Yo. Thank you. Thank you. Might as well take all the food. Gotta be some struggle robbery shit. Should I go upstairs too? See what else they got. Nothing. Oh, under the bed. What's that? I can't. It won't let me loot them. See? It won't let me, it's not giving me the option. Could have looted more if it was later in the day, but looting would wake him up. Yeah. I should have waited. That's a good point. Close everything? Okay. Get the hell out of here. Yeah, now you can escape. Let's get out. Do I have to go back out the back? Make sure on your way down. Yeah, let me make sure everything's closed. That's closed. I didn't open anything over here. Now I'll just close the door on the way back. Can't take it. I hate the mobile app tries to get another $1 for a sub per. Yeah. Twitch is really, they really try to tax you. I can't close that door. There we go. Gold pocket watch. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. That's only if it's a day. I'm still closing everything just to make sure. You know, gotta be careful. Goofy ass crouch run. Oh, I forgot to put it in first person too. Damn, I keep forgetting.
Get on, dear boy.
Where's legit though?
Come on, get on and let's head back.
All right, let's go. Because if you woke up to every drawer in your house open, would you not be suspicious? True. Got to steal this first. Okay. We should just have our horses follow us so we don't have to come back. You can call legit to follow you back to the ranch. Oh. Have him follow me. Where is he? He's right there. Alright, come on. Get out of here. Sun's starting to rise. Alright, we're good. Gotta keep moving while you follow. Yeah, I was making sure they were following. He's following. We're good.
Nicely done. We got everything we needed.
And I'm pretty sure they never even knew I was there.
We did it, damn it.
Less problems the better right now. Just need to get this back to Seamus in one piece and it's a good night's work.
It's pretty easy. That's the most brain dead message up there. What did it say? I didn't read it. You gotta keep moving while you follow.
Not bad at all.
No, I understood what you were saying though.
This was easier than hunting a 1,000-pound grizzly anyway.
No doubt. I won't forget that in a hurry.
I'm looking forward to your...
So my bitch, yo, what's up, Doc? What's up? What's up?
It wasn't the first time Mr. Matthews had stared death in the eye. And as usual, he did not flinch.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
We wrote a whole backstory for my Red Dead Online character, Doc. We let ChatGPT do it.
Till we can't, I suppose.
We tried Google's, but Google sucks.
Slowly but surely. Just need to keep at it. Dutch has a new money chest stashed in a
Here we go.
spot away from camp, but it's a long way from being full. Okay, here we are. Just pull the coach into the line there.
How did it come up? It was good. Look, let me pull it up. I have it up, wrong tab. Hold on. Did I close it? No, it's right here. It gave me a whole book. See? It was pretty good. Why does this still say it's on my payments processing? I already went through. But yeah, it gave us a whole book, right? Then we got a backstory for our rival gang in online. And then I got what she's gonna look like. It was pretty good. Pretty solid, Doc. Pretty solid. It did a good job.
Hello, Seamus. We met your cousins.
How was it?
Fine. Nice people.
Gotta put them in the barn. Join up for a few minutes so I can add you to the gang before I leave. Okay, hold on. Let me do this in, save, and I'll get in. So wait, that was a randomized thing? Yeah, so I literally just typed, give me a backstory for a girl in a gang in 1899.
Here. Thank you.
And that was it. So after this, the Big Dick Bastards, you already know. Yep.
Discreet,
Of course.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
So let me save and then I'll get online.
Think you coming?
You still have to go through the whole tutorial? Yeah, I have to make I can speed run it though. Let me save. I just remember that. I can't save anyway. Hold on. The quest isn't over. Yeah, I noticed. What are you saying?
Sure.
Where are we going now? You wanted you to come back to camp with him. Oh, okay. That's fine. We can do it when I get back. I gotta go to the baby helmet appointment. Okay. I'm leaving at 2 because I have a photo shoot. So if you're not back by then, I'll be back around 4:30. See the video I dropped in the cord? No? Let me see. Okay, sounds good. Gang is formed. Perfect. My mom on the aux, and I realized what kind of timing she be on. Arthur! What's up, Mom Dog?
He just ate my ass, he wanna switch.
You streaming when you get back? Am I? I don't think so. I don't think so. What'd you think of the clip I posted? You talking about the one where I responded with the what did he say? That one was wild, actually. That was wild. Yeah, that was wild. I laughed, though. I'm not going to lie to you. Why my mom called me while I'm watching this? Look at you. Just noticed. Perfect timing, bruh. Perfect timing. That was perfect timing. He's trying to say liquor in that video? Really? You dirty fucking bastard. She heard her jam being played. She did.
Anyway, I started blasting.
She's like, hey, turn that shit up, my boy.
Easy.
My bad. She wild as fuck. She must have known I figured her out. Yo, Snow, did you take the card? Did you keep the card? Except I like to think he's thinking about defending Winnie.
Give me a hell yeah!
I love that. That's a good sound. She said, blast that shit. All right. Whose quest should we do? Wait, what's this? We do. Goddamn right. EG? You want to do EG right now? All right, let's go, Lil Jet. He was defending his property, Lenny. Damn. Let's get on the road. Get to moving. Here we are.
Yeah, good boy.
Good boy. I like this horse.
You don't know the way.
Do you know the way?
Do you know the way? It really sounds like he wasn't saying liquor. Yeah, it definitely does not.
Yeah, that's it, boy.
That's why I asked, what did he say? Good boy. I know what's about to happen. Probably
I
something
got
bad.
that cream cheese coochie on lock.
It's out of context. Good boy. Let's put some speed into it. Nice little gallop.
Alright, boy. You're alright, boy. They set me up. I'm an innocent man.
Hey, what?
Hey, enough out of you. Stay back from the wagon, sir. Reporting a fugitive.
Fugitive? What'd he do?
Hey, you! Please, you gotta get me out of here.
I'm busy. I'm busy. Yeah, guys, she called me asking to get something for her grandbaby. There you go. See, look. It worked out. It worked out. I would have helped him, but I'm being efficient today. A hairline? That's exactly what I thought he was following up with. I thought he was going to follow up with a hairline. Not being nosy right now. Wait, that them? Did I see it already? That's the only thing that baby should be getting. Did you tell your sister that about? Did you tell your sister about his hairline? Like, the guy's religious enough to have a no using the Lord's name in really? No using the Lord's name in vain rule? I doubt he would say it. That's true. All right. Do I have to threaten somebody here?
Nope. Don't like the look of it.
Try hitting him in the face to get the handsome Squidward effect. True. Here's a gunslinger quest. Yeah, I know. But like, you know how last time for the gunslinger quest I had to threaten somebody to get in? Is this another one of those? Guess not. Wish me luck. Good luck. Good luck, Snow.
Hey, you.
Oh, I guess not.
What do you want?
Howdy. You Granger?
That's my name. I'm Al.
He is the pig guy. I just remembered who this guy is. Yo, I ate one of my niece's pizza Lunchables and some apple juice at like 3 in the morning. It slapped. That's the best time for him.
Weren't always like that, though, were.
That's the best time for him.
Draw guy. You knew Jim Boy Calloway?
Holy hairline. Yeah. I might snipe another one and drop it in the cohort.
Who might you be?
Do it. We're gonna kill his ass.
I need you to tell me about Jim Boy. Just a quote for a book.
A book about Jim Boy? Well, shit. I can't talk to you now. Look at me. I'm knee-deep in hog crap.
Non-existent.
You can talk while you work.
Must have seen my nephew. He a week today.
I ain't talking and shoveling. Besides, young man like you get it done in half the time.
I don't know about that.
What's to know? You interested in the old days? You shoveled this shit, I tell you some stories. You keep your hands clean, I don't give you squat.
Got spawned gangy with no hairline, cold world.
Some stories.
I got a shovel shit.
There they are. Pick up
I'm doing.
Get to work. Or get out of here and stop wasting my time.
I'm gonna do this for you.
What fucking
Jim Boy weren't nothing, you know. Me?
What the?
Women?
Goat mission and joy. Like, what
I
the?
even killed rocks. And I killed them good.
What the fuck?
I shot folks, stabbed folks, skinned folks.
Nothing like picking up manure.
Scalps.
This real farming.
They scream when you scalp them.
Hey, let me work.
Goat mission and joy. The baby for sure don't. That's doo-doo, baby. Look, like great mission.
I bash folks, butchered folks. I burn folks alive. Buried folks alive.
I'm definitely killing this man for this. How dare he? He been here a whole week. I called him Unc and they don't know why.
I guess I'm done.
Get that barrel to the shit pile, and I suppose you is.
All right.
No shortage of shit round here. Comes from hungry hogs and no hands.
Hell, that stinks.
That's a lot of shit. Yeah, it is.
Your mask on. Tell me
about that damn. Why is he telling us all this? We need it.
I didn't say they'd be about him.
Don't
We're about to kill him.
with me, old man. You knew him. Just give me something, anything.
You making a book, you should make it about me.
They're just words, is all. Give me something to say, and I'll leave you alone. You owe me that.
Hey, you be careful. Killer like me, it don't take much to end up on the end of my knife. One
Hey,
time.
you know what? I don't think you were in.
My book ain't gonna be about you, mate. I'm saying. How are you back?
Well, you'd already be hog feed. I hadn't made a deal with the Federals, got this farm.
This is your last chance, Mr. Granger. Give me a quote for the book.
Hey, you don't hit no man of peace, no government witness.
It's looking gorgeous ever. No you. No you.
Calloway said you was full of piss, but he didn't tell me the half of it.
I'm itching to drop you, girlie. Only you ain't worth my time. I got too much to lose.
Too much.
Damn, this beef is crazy.
Well,
It is.
Seeing as I cleaned up this pigsty, I figure I'm in my rights to wreck it. Let's see.
You don't want to do that? You walk away right now.
Well. All I wanted was a quote.
You don't know who you're trifling with. That's my stick.
Oops. I didn't mean to do that.
You walk away right now.
Oops. Where's the dynamite? What the? Where'd the dynamite go? That's food. Done to the lasso section. Thank you. Playing it. That's one.
No.
What the heck? I need that sound. Thanks, Braden. I need that. It's raining shit. Every Glock I got a switch. I just hate it. It's time to switch.
You just took yourself a regular shit shower.
Can I get a loan? Hold on. We need another chat, Stimmy.
You earned yourself a killing. And I'm going to enjoy it now. Draw. It's going to be the last thing you do.
Got his ass. Yeah, sit your ass down. A knife to a gunfight? Like, come on, bruh. Who brings a knife to a gunfight? Got his ass. Say cheese, buddy. Actually, let me back up a little bit. Back up a little bit. I know I gotta take a picture of him. Say cheese, buddy. I do. Got him. Oh, you do, Glitch? Glitch is like that, though, to be fair. Oh, shit. We gotta loot this. Hurry up. No. Photographer, stop taking such shitty pictures? Nah, bro. I'm not taking these for great stuff. So this will just spawn randomly, right? So we're good? You know, I'll take one more good one. Fine. We'll take one more. Medium steam level. Take his... Okay, so it'll respawn randomly. Yeah. I can't stand right over him. Hold on. Let's go up here. Let's get a higher angle of him. Here we go. Why can't he... Come on, Arthur. Give me what I'm looking for. There we go. Look at that ambiance. Got it. Professional photographer plays RD2. It should be the title. I don't think that's very enticing. Low-key a Bob. Oh, I just watched this. I just watched this. I just watched it. That's all you got going for you, man? You got to try it? No, we're good. We're doing pretty good.
I got that cream cheese coochie on lock.
There it is. All right, let's get out of here. I just thought a switch should be the title. No. No. I guess while we're here, let's go to Reverend Swanson. while we're here. I saw that one, Lev. Nice try, buddy. I saw that one. Gucci pink by Booty Hole Brown. Let's go, Lil Jet. Let's get up out of here. Time to go. We're just collecting pistols. Let's go. Bunch of shit over there. Don't go down that road, boy. A whole bunch of shit. Just left Pound Town. My opinion, YouTubers should never quit their job entirely because an online career is generally short. Well, it depends on how much money they make, right? So some people make a bag, like a bag, right? And then they're usually good if they're not super wasteful and buying like ginormous houses like we looked at yesterday. You know? Is that the name of it? I only know that line. I think Snow knows. But it kind of depends on who the YouTuber is, to be fair. You make that money and still have a safety of a job? Yeah, but then you can't put all the time that you'd want to, like, further elevate that into a, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of a trade-off. Like, they quit to put more time into it. Yeah, like, to be truly successful at it, you kind of have to. You know what I mean? Because they have to have the time to dedicate to it. And if you have a real job, it's kind of not. Gotta play this? Let me see. What is this?
So, guess what I heard?
What you had here?
Shut the fuck up! We got a couple of sweet niggas in this bitch. Hey, the fuck y'all think y'all going? We got some sweet niggas in this bitch, and we know how to weed them out. Get the fucking line.
I think I've seen this one.
Play that one shit I gave you.
Let me see it. Yeah, listen to it on accident sometimes. Yeah, peace be showing up to your day job.
Let's get it then. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I fuck with this song too hard, bro. Me too. It was you, motherfucker, wasn't it? The nigga I crossed, I swear to God.
Oh, there's a song.
Start that shit over and turn it
There's
up.
a song. Love me some hood rats. Same.
I'm trying not to tee the fuck up in this bitch. Motherfucker song so hard. Oh my God. I'm out of town, thugging with my rounds, my Gucci pink. Come on. Come suck a bitch toes. Pound town. Where my nigga, he just took a bitch down.
Found him.
Caught they little sweet ass.
Found him.
So y'all little niggas think.
Found him. Now what were we saying? I got distracted. Yeah, it'd be more difficult. Yeah. Quit playing niggas. I've actually heard the actual song except for like in videos. You know how generally when I'm on TikTok, like songs will blow up on there, but I'm not the one that usually searches them out for the most part. You know? It's called Pound Town, it's a banger. Is that a pun? Okay, here we are. Oh boy. Whoa, whoa, put the gun away, Arthur. Jesus. Put the gun away. It is. I knew it.
Swanson, you hear me?
Good morning to you.
She said my son need a new dad. She be spitting.
Swanson!
Where he at?
You hear, Reverend? Morning to you. Morning, partner.
Yo, where he at? Where the Reverend at?
I took your advice, sir. I took your advice.
All them trips to Pound Town and my mom never brought me back a new dad.
What you talking about?
I took your advice, sir.
Damn, Snow.
Removed
Damn.
myself from Morpheus's embrace. No more shall I sink, sir. I am free. I am free.
You don't seem free, friend. You seem drunk.
Sit down, Reverend. We ain't finished.
You ain't finished. Look at him. He's finished.
None of us forced liquor down his throat. Friend, I just want him to play.
She's selfish.
We ain't friends. Don't make no mistake on
You know, she wanted you all to herself, you know.
See, let alone reason.
All to herself, you feel me?
My strong points.
Let's play some poker. We can't gamble right now, Legate. We gotta save up.
Why can't we all just get along? These are good men.
We can't. We're gonna lose everything.
They are children of God.
We can't. We have to pay. It's only $5. Do you not remember yesterday? So far in this game, we're net negative $200. All right, we'll play one hand.
Sure.
I don't know how to play poker, though. Why can't we all just get along?
Down then.
I don't actually know how to play poker, so I've never played.
I'm Luther. This is Marvin.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunate for you both, we're being gentlemen about this.
Same goes for you.
Julio died from Fent. Damn. Damn.
Now you two know each other anyway.
They just released it?
Like this to friends,
Damn.
if you don't mind me saying.
We go a long way
Damn.
back.
And now
Oh shit, I'm back in millionaire territory? There you go.
Guess it's something.
Don't ever gamble all again. It's going to disappear so quick. We win, Leb also shoots. True. All right, let's look at my cards. I got a queen and a 10. That's good, right?
He committed about 5 cardinals.
That's good, right?
In that chair you're sitting in.
I think we call here, right? Fuck it.
Did a little in recent years. Life is a challenge to all of us.
I don't know how to play poker. I just go all in every round. Oh, God. Check is free. We'll check it.
Whiskey, and I don't remember much after that.
Here we go. Okay.
He's a decent fella.
I don't know how to play this game.
Disrespect him.
I missed this game. I don't know how to play poker.
All right. Just trying to have a little fun here.
I mean, we're just going to keep calling. Oh, fat. Damn. You just put the amount to max? That's not how you play. You got a pair of queens. So do we win, you think?
Check.
That's how you play poker? Oh. Just go all in.
There you go.
Pile of crap. Not looking good.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Hellfire.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Yep, there.
That's my money. Give me that 12 cents. We win those. Could have won so much more if you went in. True. Don't know how, though. Yeah, true. Give me them new cards, my boy. We in here. Yeah, skip that shit. Let's go. Get to the game. Take your turn. This is a bad hand. We'll call for now.
I'll call.
We'll call it.
Check.
Okay, call. So I thought. Place a card. Okay, we got 3 down. Let's see. 4, 2, and an ace. So I have a 2 and a queen. We're good, right?
Another check. Why don't that surprise me?
It's a good hand. We can get it straight. Okay. Should I raise it? Do I raise it up? It's a pretty good hand. We got a 2 and an ace. Max? Nah. Never mind. A 2 pairs low. Okay. Should I fold? Do I fold here? Raise small. Okay. Raise to 12. There we go.
Yeah, I know. Pretty pathetic.
Sure.
I'll call.
Okay. We're learning. Oh, another queen. Okay, so we got 2 queens.
Okay, then.
Now we're good. So we have 2 pairs. All in. Imagine Red Dead teach you how to play poker. You learn something from this game. Yeah, gambles. All in. I'll do it.
Sometime before we
I'll go all in.
Would be nice.
Raise small. Okay. We'll go so I can call it. We'll go 34.
Here.
We'll go 34. Let me see what you got, my boy. Oh, shit. He raised a 4.
I'll check.
Check. Okay, so he's checking. We have... fuck it. You know what? Here we go. We're doing it. All in.
All in.
Here we go, Legate.
Shit.
We did it. Let's go.
Come on.
Let's go. 2 in a row. Yes, sir. If he got a 4, that's all right. That's really...
You worry about your own game.
Let's go. Wait, Glitch, did you beat her? Glitch, did you beat Millennia? Let's go. Skip this shit. Let's go. Come on. Keep it up. Gambling stream. We're back, boys. Those small raises to grow the pot help? Okay. Still kill them. You finally did it? Let's go, Glitch. I told you. Let's go.
Your own time.
I'll check.
Check for me.
5 and a 9, not a good. FTB for real. You got her. I told you. Okay. Okay. So this is not a good hand, huh? This isn't a good hand, right? I'm so fucking hyped right now. As you should be. Do you have a clip? Glitch, do you have a clip? Get up, hammer, shoot them equals win. You almost have a straight. Okay. Should I check or raise a little bit? Hey, Skratsx, give me a stimmy. Do we do a chat stimmy?
Just a little.
We do a chat stimmy? Check. Oh, whoops. Okay. Ooh. This is not looking good. I want to fucking cry. Glitch, please tell me you got a clip. Please. Please tell me you got a clip. I feel like I should check here. I'm checking.
No.
Yeah, check felt right. You got the clip? Put it in the cord. Let's see it. Holy shit. Fold if raised. Okay, so if he raises it, we're folding. So the pot is 18 cents. Did he raise? I don't think he did. What do we do now? I feel like we have to fold this one, right? He checked. You check. Okay. He also checked.
There.
Read him and wait.
2 pairs? Fuck.
I'll take it.
You want food before leaving? No. I do not. It's against the routine. It's against the routine.
Okay, this
you know?
is getting annoying now.
You one unlucky bastard, eh?
You one unlucky bastard, huh? Can't win them all. True. True. I feel like I'm gonna learn poker from this stream. Ace and a 10. I think I broke my controller. Wait, did you post it? No, not yet. Let me know when you post it. I gotta see it. Call? Okay. Call.
I check.
Okay, he checked. See what we got? 935. Okay. Goal of the stream is to learn poker. I gotta get off my PlayStation? Okay. If Ray's check. I think he checked. I'm gonna check.
I don't think.
Check.
You should just go play checkers the amount you check.
Okay, he raised. If raised, we check. Do we check again? Oh, do we call it? I'm gonna get it later. I'm too hype right now. Okay, no problem, no problem. Fold.
I better fold.
All right then. I'll take it.
It's the first time I've ever played poker. I gotta learn the rules.
That's more like it.
Well, you did well.
Okay. We gotta beat all of them.
You're gonna have fun getting him home.
I wish I'd asked that drunken fool to bless my card before he passed out.
Okay. Let's see what we got. Look at my cards. A 2 and a 3. So that's not bad, right? That's not bad. I think. I don't know what's good or bad.
In your own time.
Not bad. Check or call. Okay. Call.
Yup.
Check.
Okay, he checked. Let's get the cards. Never learned. I always just go all in and hope for the best. Okay. So we have ace 2 3. You have an ace high? What does that mean? What's an ace high? Check. Got it. Let's see what we got. A 7. Fuck. Fuck. Not looking good this hand? Yeah. Should I fold this one? This feels like a fold. He raised. Feels like a fold. Yeah, fold.
I'd better.
We at least got to beat Luther.
Not for me.
Better than nothing.
Others could have hearts and hit flush. Oh, yeah, that's true. Good point.
This is bullshit.
This is bullshit. Let's do it. Intense gambling over $10 total. I mean, that's a lot of money back then, you know? How much money is that now? Got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Truer lines have never been spoken. Oh, this isn't looking great. Okay. So they all... I'll check. We start with a check. Know when to shoot them. Oh, call? Should have called. Damn. 3, 5, 2. So I have 2 5s. So I have a pair of 5s right now. $362.46 is it. That's their earning for days at risk. Okay. Damn. So that's a decent amount. Hold on, bro. Bet 24 cents.
Check again? Jeez.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see what we got. A 2. Okay.
Here.
He raised. I have a pair of... we have 2 pairs of 5. Hold on, brother. Something's in my head. In St. Denis, we can go involve ourselves in games with more risk. Like what? What games?
Hurry up, will you?
Bro, shut up. I'm thinking. I want to call it. It's 40 cents. Raise 10 cents. I have to call. I guess I can raise it to... Fuck it.
Now, don't get...
At the bars in this game, there's finger fillet.
I don't think so.
That sounds horrible.
Huh.
Damn. They're confident. A queen. We lose? We lose here? I think we check. We lose? Check. Finger fillet is when you stab him. Yeah, no, I know what it is.
How do you like this?
No way.
What? I don't believe
Nice.
Damn it.
Oh, no. Shit.
Ah. All right.
Fuck. There's also dominoes in this game if you're good at it. I haven't played dominoes since I was a kid. I vaguely remember how to do it.
Ah, crap.
Hard lines, partner.
Damn it.
Annoy me, huh?
We're in last. We have 70 cents left. Oh, I can help with dominoes? Okay, bet. I was killer at that shit. When was the last time you played, though? That's what I gotta know. A 4 and a 2.
Nah.
In St. Denis, there's more at risk because everyone there is rich. With Dad and G, yeah, so call.
What you so scared of?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It's been a long time. It's been a long time, Lev. Okay, I have a pair of twos. Connect 4. I love Connect 4. Connect 4, like, I don't need it. Get it straight. Okay. Do I want to raise? All in?
In your own time.
I better go all in.
This is some crap right here.
That's it.
This ain't what you call finishing strong.
Looking good for you.
Now you're talking.
Garbage.
Damn.
It all counts. Huh?
Damn. Connect 4 is so fun. I don't like straights, but they probably work for you.
This is getting too rich for me.
Sit down.
Pay back in. Yeah, we back. No, fuck this. No, hell no. We don't end on an L.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang! Bang! All right.
The Reverend, where it... Excuse me, gentlemen.
Hold on.
Reverend Swanson! Where'd you go?
Anyways. Yo, what's up, brothers? Oh, I can't buy back in yet. We'll be back, you fuck. Wait till this mission's over, brother. Oh, we'll get my fucking money back.
Hey, Reverend!
Where's his... Howdy, y'all. Yo, what's up, Dom? How are you?
What are you doing?
Did you say your ass is on the switch? Where the hell is the Reverend? Get my $5 back. We got to. If not, also in this game, you can stop witness without shooting them by threatening them. Oh. That makes it actually easier. Gotta keep an eye on the clock. How are you, Dom? Yellow and black mark? No, I see it. I saw it. There he is. Look at that son of a bitch. They're fighting over there. Scratch this game, rob me? That's tough.
Get your hands off him. You'll keep.
We're gonna have to fight again.
Get your hands off him now, you son of a bitch.
What the hell is your problem?
He's with me.
This is crazy in first person. Fuck out of here. Boy. Let's go. I'm mad I lost my $5, boy. Don't you fight me. Oh, wait, where's the witness? Hey, where you at?
Hey, you. Get back here.
This is weird in first person. Where'd he go? You knocked bro the fuck out? I did. Get your ass back here.
I said stop, damn it.
Okay.
Tell anyone what you saw back there?
So, bro, we need to check for that.
You understand me?
Yo, Dom. Thanks for the bits. Thank you. Y'all rumbled. Yes, sir. Hold on 1 second.
Second thoughts, you can give me all your money, too.
Okay, here, just take it. Just please let me go.
You're lucky you're still breathing. Get.
Get out of here. Don't let me see your face again, boy.
Now, where's Reverend?
Yeah, thank you for the bits. You know, we had to deal with him. You know, we had to. How have you been, Dom? It's the nega chin. Exactly. We need to heal. I didn't really consider fall damage when I was doing that. So. Oh, there's food that cures all that, right? Don't I have... Oh. There we go. Tell bro quit playing. Why you got in first person? It looks cool. It looks cool in first person, doesn't it? I'm good, bro. Restarted Red Dead this week, so I was buzzing to see you play it. It's so fun. We gotta run up the mountain. We have to run. Wait. Up this way and go across the bridge? Yeah? Okay. Bet. Let me just mark him so I can just follow the... There we go. It's harder to gauge where people are and stuff? Yeah, it is. Wait, it's telling me just go this way. It is harder. I'm not gonna lie to you. But it looks cool. You know? No? Don't follow the trail? I mean, okay. Even though the map's telling me differently. Let's just walk it.
Reverend! Over here!
Go back up. That's your own marker telling you differently? 1800 GPS was trash. Apparently. Apparently. Okay. So now he's right here. His music's fire. Pretty good. Pretty good. It is pretty good. So he's over on this dot, right? Yeah? Come here, boy. Sick of running. Come here, boy. Okay. Was not ready for that one. It is our daily. That was a good one, Saul. Oh, yeah. We're not doing first person on the horse. We're just not doing it. Oh, I see him. There, yep. Exclamation mark Saul.
A friend! It's just a simple mistake. You can still be saved.
You gonna get a glorious beard? I think we need to, don't we? Like, I feel like we have to. Get over here before I lasso you. Come here, Reverend.
Down with your foot. It appears to like this place. And what's...
Oh, shit. The horse gave a jump scare? It did.
Get your foot out of here. Twist your leg.
The train's coming. That's what they just did when that train went by. That's what just happened.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, no, you don't.
Hog tie his ass.
What's wrong with you?
Hog time.
What the hell is wrong with you? Throwing me off a bridge like
There
that?
was a goddamn train, you crazy.
I posted an image in general. The max length beards. Okay, I'll look.
Have I been bad again, Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I wish I was different.
I feel like this is the perfect beard length, but we got to see how long we can get it.
Let's get you home.
Home. Yeah, that's a wonderful idea.
Home. Home on the range, if you will.
Margaret, who's Margaret?
But
Jesus Cristo. The huge beard can take away from the mood sometimes. You think so? Where'd you post it? You said general? I'm in general. Where'd you post it? Is it still posting? Oh, there it is. Yeah, not this. Oh, you posted it in the wrong server. Not this. This one. This one's good. This one. Not this one, though. I'm not doing this. That's just not happening. Get up, you son of a bitch. Let's get to moving.
I told him.
Okay.
Come on, boy.
Let's go, boy. You don't like that one? That's amazing. Santa-sized beard. That's what we need. I don't want them. I can't, bro. We'll look too stupid. We'll look too stupid with that one. We just can't. Here we go. Let's go, boy. Here we go. I like how he just doesn't move at all on the back. You know?
Hey, shut it back there.
Just shut up. Russell G's got a bit of dirt on him.
Good job.
You're right. Body's just bouncing up and down. Yes, like he's literally just not moving.
There, boy.
I like this horse. I like this one. Good horse choice.
Alright, boy.
After winning that fight, it feels like I've beaten the game. Yeah, you've beaten the hardest boss, so, you know. He's made some Michael Jackson sounds. Yeah, I heard it. I heard the hee-hee.
Yeah, good boy.
Yeah, I heard the hee-hees.
Yeah, that's it, boy.
That's it, boy. Good horse, legit. Good horse.
You shut up.
Michael J. Jackson reincarnated. Will it be before him? Because this is the final boss hard? It was for me. The reason it was hard for me is because my character had a bleed build, right? And the last boss doesn't take bleed damage. So that was kind of a bitch. Pre-incarnated. Yeah. That's it. Pre-incarnated. Sure, we're good. No tech. Come here, Reverend. But Millennium's the hardest one, so you're pretty good from here on out. What's up, shorty?
I was wondering when he'd show up.
I'm wondering when you showing up to my tent. Feel me? Hopefully uphill from here. 100%. 100%. That's Dutch's girl? Oh. My bad. My fault, Dutch.
Salvation, my friend.
I can show you the way of the Unga Bunga, the strength build.
Just usual.
Poor bastard.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Mr. Morgan. I'll keep an eye on him.
He was lucky.
Keep an eye on me. That's one of the best things about Elden Ring is the sense of accomplishment that you get from beating these bosses, you know? Like, that sense of accomplishment that you feel, like, look how hype you feel. There's not a lot of games that give you that feeling after beating a boss. All right, let's go back and play poker. Where do we go? Let's go back. We were right here, right? You come to the camp dirty, Miss Grimshaw forces you to take a bath. We were here, right? This is where we gambled? Yeah, flat neck station? Okay. Not there. Flat neck, right? Right here. Right? Not here. Here. Yeah. More like fat neck. Hey. Yes, sir. Wait, why is there an exclamation mark right here? You're just reading my messages late, but that's expected with the delay. Oh, okay. Think I'm gonna go to sleep now? Yeah, you probably like, all that adrenaline's gonna make you tired. Have a great stream. Yo, proud of you. Good job. Thanks for stopping in. Maybe we can fund the fast travel now. Where do I buy it? You can find a picture of Arthur's dog around here. Where do I buy fast travel? Oh, you don't have the mission that unlocks it. Okay, let's do the mission to unlock it before I go back gambling. So we should do... Who do you want to do? D or LS? D or LS? D is amazing. Ayo. D. Yeah, we'll do the D. We'll do the D. Why, thank you. Yes. What's up, Dutch?
Dutch? Miss O'Shea?
Well, feels like we are finally getting back on our feet.
Damn right.
You find a buyer for them bonds we stole?
Not yet, but Jose is working on it.
When we heading west?
Soon? I don't know.
Feels like things have changed.
Damn right, things have changed.
Oh my guys are ballers. Oh my guys are ballers.
I got that cream cheese coochie on lock.
That sounds gonna haunt me, isn't it?
Of men take jobs in the
That sounds gonna haunt me.
I hope so.
Trust Dutch, Mr. Morgan. You have to.
They got Micah.
Who got Micah?
What's going on?
They got Micah. He's been arrested for murder. He was in Strawberry.
It's okay, son. Breathe.
You know what we have to do to free him from murder? Murder the town.
They got Micah
Thoughts?
and the sheriffs in Strawberry. And
Jailbreak? You damn right.
Arthur, what? The fool brought this on himself. You know my feelings about him, Dutch.
Lenny!
Passed his bluster to the heart inside. He is a fine man.
No, I ain't saving that fool.
I can't go. My face will be all over West Elizabeth. I am asking. He would do it for you.
I don't think he would, but fine, all right.
Arthur.
You okay, Lenny?
You know my feelings. Fuck them kids.
Yes, I'm okay.
You don't seem okay.
You take that kid into town. Valentine, not Strawberry. Get him drunk. And Arthur, no crazy business.
I've given that up.
And you get Micah out of that jail.
Can I get a please? Like, damn.
Come on, son.
Can I get a please get him out of jail?
Do it, Dutch. Just can't drop everything.
No crazy business. Just rude, honestly, right? Like, say please. I'm not in jail. Like, hello? Come on, bro. All right, we're going to Valentine. We're going to a saloon. He said get him drunk. He said get him drunk, right? Look at the baby horses compared to yours. I know, right? Let's go. Let's go. Here we go, boys. I got the best horse in all the land. What's up, Bill?
Hey, you look like you've been through it.
I'm beat. We finally get off that mountain, then this. Micah's got a crazy...
Isn't that Bill? Or that's someone else?
You're supposed to be...
I thought that was Bill. No, not the black guy, the other guy. Not him. The guy on the ground. I know the black guy's Lenny. Like, I know the black guy's... Yeah, the guy on the ground. Not Lenny.
Then we ran into some
like...
One of them Micah knew, drank some more.
Like, I know who I was talking... I'm confused now. The dude on the ground was Bill, right?
I know how that goes.
Couldn't even tell you quite how.
Let's go, buddy.
Strike of a match. The law was on us fast, too. They was
Here we go. During mission, always follow the gold path. And yeah, it was Bill. Okay, got you. Thank you.
All right now.
Got you.
So you gonna go get him? I'll come with you.
No, you leave it to me.
Yeah, you just get you a nice cold one, and I'll take care of this mission, boy.
That started all this.
We'll just have a couple. Settle you down, then head back, okay?
Okay.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Exactly, that's who that was.
I should warn you.
Bill.
The other boys, we got in a bit of a fight last time we was here.
Lenny, do you want to hear about the time we disappeared for 3 days from camp?
No, we kept it clean. We're all good.
Does you want to?
If you say so, Arthur.
Here we go. Bill. Science rules. It does. Hey, what's up, my boy?
Hey, move.
You move, damn it. One of my friends is already in jail for murder. You want to see what my other friend can do? Lenny is crazy. Lenny's just damn right crazy. He's a psychopath, if you will.
Got some kind of rock in your boot?
No, there's a snake in my boot, bud, not a rock. Watch out, horse coming. There's no pedestrian rules here.
Here we are. What gives, huh?
Oh shit, this mission. Let's do it. Is this one crazy? Is this a crazy mission? Leonard Lenny. Lenneth the let me save. I just feel like I can't save. Alright, we locked in. I love how he just like fucking trucks the door every time I hit A remotely. Or X. Alright. Hello? Come on, Arthur. There's a thing you gotta do during this mission? What? Arthur hates doors. Apparently, he just trucked. Hello? I can't. Thank you. Barkeep.
You, mister, excuse me. Have a nice evening.
Walk near the table. There we go.
Just one or two, right, Arthur?
Of course, just a drink. No big drama.
Just 1 or 2 dozen drinks.
I don't want no trouble. You'll get none from me. I was defending myself. Tommy, he'll be fine. Here, have one for yourself. Thank you.
Let's drink.
Micah seemed to know a lot of people. That was the problem.
How you mean?
I mean, I
Drink
done seen
away,
a lot of
buddy.
Crazy stuff,
A
but Micah.
lot of crazy stuff. Will you
Here we
shut
go.
Up? Will you shut up? Be quiet, buddy. Oh, they're dullards. My lord, you men is dull.
It's always motherfuckers that look like this that start issues.
Leave the fool alone. People been leaving me alone. Listen, buddy. You're a charming fellow. One of the best. But me and the kid here, we're trying to talk business, so could you possibly leave us alone? No offense.
You could have punched him if you waited a second. I said I wasn't going to cause issues, you know.
Some folk.
I said I wasn't going to cause issues in this bar, so I'm a man of my word, you know.
Oh. That's great.
There we go. I said 1 or 2 dozens. Whoa. Hello. What is your name? After you're allowed to walk around, go upstairs and knock on the upstairs door. Okay. Excuse me, ma'am. Can I sit here? Can I have me a seat? What is your name? Oh, what's your name? Hello.
Found my friend. You know where he went?
Stop talking about Lenny, Arthur. We got other stuff to worry about. Wait.
Hey, buddy.
All right, good talk. All right, let's go upstairs. A lot of shorties up here. Knocking on the doors. We're knocking on everything. Okay, that takes me outside. Down the hallways. What button do I press to knock? Try the other side doors? Okay.
What are you doing, kid?
Hello. Up, I found him. I found him, my butt. My fault. I saw your not down this way message too late.
Why ain't you never married?
That's the thing, you see. Lenny?
Next time you move, next time you can move, do that again. Okay. So go back to the door. Which way am I going? Put the opposite hallway? With the red light? Back where I was? Or this way? Like 2A or red? The other one. Okay. There's no door here. Back left. Okay. No. Excuse me, shorties. Coming through. That's outside.
Lenny?
Whoa!
Sorry.
TV's is fuck. Whoa! My bad. Wow, what a game, huh? All right, let's help Lenny. Why are we always getting in bar fights? Yeah. Get more drunk and walk in there again. Yo. Oh, look. 90 points. Are we fighting again?
Shut up, mister. Yeah. Shut your mouth, mister.
It's like Greg Olson. Just keep going in every time. Looks like I'm outside now. Does it make me want to play this game again? You got to. Let's experience this world and find Lenny in a saloon. Alright, I got you, Legate. Hello, sir. Everyone's a Lenny. You know? Hello, sirs. Yeah, everyone is Lenny.
Damn it, Lenny, stop slumping off on me.
I just noticed that.
Like a Lenny to you?
Damn. Are you Lenny?
Found you, Lenny.
Lenny, go away, you drunk.
I just noticed that. Sure am feeling a little sleepy. It's two Lennys. It's two Lennys. They're gonna be Lennys, yeah. That was definitely two Lennys. Are we sure we just drunk? That was
Lenny.
How many of you have?
I never saw the two Lennys. That was crazy. Two Lennys. Are you Lenny?
All over for you, Lenny.
You mean Jenny? She left with a John an hour ago.
Interesting.
Oh, Lenny. There you are, Lenny.
This isn't. Damn. Maybe he's downstairs. The two Lennys is great. Are you actually Lenny? This is a sign of a good friendship, you know?
You're a good friend to me, Arthur.
Shut up. Cheers.
What a mission, huh?
Cheers.
Let the cops catch you. It causes one more interaction with Lenny. All right. Dunk him. Do you have the option to run? Just stand still? Okay. Hands off the controller. Hands. They're right here. Still not really in control. Let them catch you. I'm not moving. My hands are literally right here. There we go. I'm alive, Lenny. Let's go.
I want to die. Well, what did we do?
I don't know.
Oh, me neither.
Yeah. You pair degenerates. There's a fine for drunken violence in this town. You're just lucky no one was killed.
Hey, we didn't start a thing.
If this is realistic, only Arthur's getting out of jail here.
Either you fools got any money? It's $10 and you're free to walk.
Sure.
Now, get out of here. I don't want to see either of you around here no more.
Not realistic. It's not. It's not.
So, that was a quiet drink?
First one was pretty quiet.
Yeah, the first one was pretty quiet.
At least it took your mind off goddamn Mikey.
Well, that's certainly true. I gotta get out of here.
I'm just gonna have a little sit down and feel sorry for myself.
Pretty good start to the mission. W. Lenny, right? All right. Let's get up, Arthur. Let's get up, buddy. How are you, Broward? We got the Mary mission. W, we got a woman. Did we actually? Oh, we got to build our course. Lenny is the biggest W. I like Lenny. Look at the map. Is it over here? Or am I looking at something different? Micah. What Mary mission? Never mind. Oh. Let me just get my cores up real quick. It's not the Mary mission, it's just damn Micah. Get my stamina up real quick. Saw the M and got excited. I feel you. Alright. So this was the whole mission? We just got drunk? Howdy, feller.
Someone's gonna help a fella out. Somebody, please.
Who's this then?
Go buy some new guns. We gotta save money. Over to the homeless man and help him. This guy, right? The newspaper salesman? Nah.
Morning, sir. Okay there?
Who's saying that? I really do need to get... I need to get spatials. You've convinced me to get spatial audio.
Oh, okay. Not to worry.
You convinced me. He's the direction of the newspaper man. Okay. Last time a homeless man I gave him money, he was not... No, that was a blind man. Never mind. Okay. Sorry, I'm just making sure, like...
Hey, don't barge me.
My fault, my boy.
Help a fella out.
Just down this road. Oh, here he is.
Hey, buddy.
Morning, friend.
I'm too old to get a job, mister.
I'll actually give him money.
Way too old.
He's missing an arm. He's legit.
Friends?
Sure.
I'm so happy. I ain't had a friend in a
Nuka-Cola. Yes.
long time. My last friend died. Weren't my fault. They said it was, but they was wrong.
I'm nervous now.
It's fun being with you, mister.
Bet it was. Yeah, I think it's his fault. As long as he's not a Confederate op. True. If he is, you know what we got to do.
Okay, just quickly.
Looks like he's in blue.
That felt...
Yeah, he's not in...
It's nice to be held sometimes. Oh, we used to hold each other in the war.
What? Yeah, he looks like he's in the Union.
Like you seen sad things. Remember with kindness.
All right, see ya, man. See ya. All right, where are we going? Micah? We gotta get him out of jail, right? Gun store in town. Aren't we saving money, though? We have to save so we get the fast travel. Making so much progress. I told you. I told you we're getting progress today. I don't clickbait. Let's see if there's any free guns available. Okay.
Well, new marksman in town. Welcome. But it's really the catalog you want to look at. It's got everything in here.
Damn right.
Let's have a look.
There's free guns. See what we got? No. You can customize to improve the weapons you already have. These are looking like a bunch of hell nulls, buddy. Yeah, I don't see any freebies. Oh, you don't got the Ultimate Edition, so no free guns. Oh. That's why it's called the land of the free. Zach, we have to rob the gun store, right? That's how we get free guns. Buy some gun oil to clean your guns.
Yeah,
okay.
Worth a shot.
I will buy some gun oil. Can't get guns if you rob? That's ass. You said gun oil? How many do you think? Like 10?
You'll see a few people in town with that too.
Oh, we did, so we sold out. Yeah, we just bought the supply. You got a shotgun yet? I have 2 shotties.
No problem.
I have a sawed off and a regular one. I'll show you. Where's where my horse at? He's over here. What the? Whoa! Damn!
Think I'll have another drink and then go see your wife.
Damn! Damn! That's tough. 2-pieced him. Oh shit! It's Paul's ancestors. It is. Let's brush legit real quick. Got a little dirt on him. Looking a little dirty. With a biscuit. Go beat that guy's ass for what? I mean, that's between them, you know? He got his wife took. Alright, we can. Let's go talk to him. Save just in case I do something stupid.
Anyway, I started blasting.
That was crazy. Beat his ass and said, now I'm gonna go talk to your wife. That's tough. Beat his ass, he kicked. Oh, he did. That's right.
Don't start no more crap around here.
So that's what you do, huh? Sleep with another man's woman.
I ain't to be made a fool of.
Bro, you just poured beer over yourself.
So you made a fool out of him, maybe I make a fool out of you.
You're just like a fly buzzing around, ain't you?
Okay. Okay, just making sure. I can't. Even the bartender knows I can't.
This time, all right?
I can't do anything. It won't let me swing. It won't let me swing. Like I'm pressing it, it won't let me. I'm literally pressing it, it won't let me. Oh, there we go. It still won't let me. I'm literally pressing the buttons and it will not. There we go. Hold on, bud. Hold on. Fuck out of here. Like I was pressing the buttons real quick and it would not let me do anything. You know what? You keep this up, bud. I'm pulling out the strap. I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is crazy. You were pressing the trigger? No, I was hitting the button. I pressed the triggers and I was hitting the buttons and it wasn't doing anything. That man has Apollo hands. I let go. So I know that left isn't how to do it. And so when I let go, I was still hitting the buttons and he wasn't doing anything. But we got him though. Fuck out of here. Hey man. I beat his ass for you, bruh. Hold on. Let's get a better perspective. I beat his ass for you, bruh. When you get home, maybe you'll have a little bit of respect, man. That's tough. Whisper it to me, Dom. For some reason, he doesn't let links through. I think he did. Probably. That's tough. Also, when you beat someone, they get knocked out. You can watch them get up in a few minutes. Nah, I'm not interested. Let's go get Mike out of jail. That's tough. Got his ass beat, and he said, I'm still going to go see your wife. No problem, bro. It'll be in your clips list anyway. Okay, I'll move look. That was crazy. That man had hands for real. There's a bounty mission. Do we do that first? Let's do a bounty instead. But I kind of want to get Mike out of jail. I said progress. 30 minutes? Okay. Yeah, we probably have to do a bounty. It's quicker. Fuck Micah. Yo, it's not letting me click my menu. I'll look at the clip. It's just not letting me. Micah's a hoe. All right, I guess we're doing a bounty then. My fault. Let him rot. All right. You know, I'm a man of the people. Please make next stream a no progress stream. What are we doing next stream? Let's plan it out. What do you want to do? Just a dude pouring beer on himself? Don't worry. Okay. What do you want to do next stream? My friend said, put up your racism, as in retire being racist, and I thought he meant take it up a notch. I may have fucked up. Uh-oh. Side quest and fucking about? Bet we can. You're going to see me on the news. Oh, God. The bounty is... Where's the bounty mission? It has a skull on it, right? Take it up a notch. The bounty has a skull, right? It's a skull icon? This one. There it is. I found it. What the? Oh, I forgot I'm on legit. Let me get off. Let me go this way. Yo, bro, stop swerving everywhere. I like how random stuff. Hunt a legendary animal for 3 hours tomorrow. Ooh, should we do that? Bet. Legendary animal hunt tomorrow? Yes, sir.
The Terror of Valentine.
Ellie Ann Swan. Interesting. Ellie Ann Swan. $25 whole dollars. This quest is fun before arresting. Listen to the dialogue. I got you. A reward for $25 will be paid for the arrest of Ellie Ann Swan, wanted for the crime of matricide. The above amount will be paid immediately for the delivery of the prisoner wanted alive for questioning. Good luck today, babe. You got 27 minutes? Yes, sir. Maximum distractions tomorrow? 27 minutes. Yeah, I know. I got to leave in 27. Known as the Black Widow, she has been seen in the Cumberland Falls area with an unknown male who may be manipulating her. Matricide is killing of one's mother. I know what that crime was. I've seen it on like Snapped and stuff. Hey, look like she got married at 12. That's probably why she's killing people, to be honest.
That one?
All right, let's go get Ellie Ann Swan.
Sleeping rough near Cumberland Falls. And what's more, they say she ain't sleeping alone.
Damn, that was a dramatic way to deliver that line. I got you, bro.
We got enough crap around here from the livestock.
It's kind of hard playing in first person. I'm not gonna lie. It feels weird. You gotta listen to her dialogue first before getting her. Just hide and listen. All right, I got you. Let's go, Lil Jit. Come on, my boy. Since we're about to get on horseback, we out of first person. You good, bro? What's going on? Damn, he slumped. That's crazy. Let's get out of here. Can you watch out, please? I gotta turn my horse around. Thank you. Extreme pussy phobia. For general combat, no first person, and for immersive, peaceful walking, first person. Yeah, I think that's better. First person's difficult. It looks great though. That's the thing. I kind of want to get it to where I'm first person the whole time, but let's go zoom zoom. Got you.
You're all right, boy.
This new UK sleigh got the guys tripping on me.
You're okay, boy.
We do have to max this bond out. What is the max bond? Level 4?
All right, boy.
First person knife fights are crazy. I gotta try it. Wait, I know I'm sidetracked. What'd you say about this smoke right here? Yeah, okay. We were thinking the same thing. Oh, shit. You gotta defend these people? Bet. Wait! I need my gun! Wait! Yo, Dom, thanks for the bits. Got a lurk while I sort a few things here. Enjoy, bro. Yo, have a good lurk. Dom, we appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wait! Come here. I need the gun, buddy. Damn. Look. Bruh. Oh my God. Stop. Thank you. All right, now you can run. You're good now. Hold on. I didn't get to move fast enough. Fuck out of here. There we go. That it? Woo! You really blew his head off. I had to, man. They started shooting at me. I wasn't even in this beef. I was just walking. Why'd they start shooting at me? Mind blown. Like, what'd I do to them? I'm just walking by. They should know better, to be honest. Once you get max bond, your horse isn't scared of anything? Okay. So I just started blasting, you know? Go talk to the homeowner? Bet. Oh, wait. You got loot too, my boy. Let me get some of that. Oh, we got cocaine gun. Why you say fuck me for? I need that as a sound. I'll make that a sound before I get out of here.
Stay out of trouble. I'll try.
So he's not the right one. In my 50 cent voice. That's the exact one I need. Buy some land, fuck spinning rims. That song is great. That's great. Who is the homeowner here? Is it you?
You'll be all right. Just stick it out.
He's the right one, you're good. You just didn't go fast enough to get the dialogue. Oh, okay.
All right, boy.
So when I see stuff like that, just stop when I see the smoke. You gotta get spinning rims. Yeah? Okay. Bet. Deadeye is so cool.
Yeah.
Take a tonic. Which one? This one does health and dead. Oh, we'll just do that. There we go. While riding, pat your horse for more bonding and keep him brushed well. And remember to feed him horse food. Yeah, I pet them as they go, especially if I hear them make a noise.
Yeah, okay, boy.
Because I know that I learned from when I got the white horse before I left it. I can't use it. Feed that boy. Get some food, boy. Classic oat cakes. What the hell? What the hell is this? Arthur need to buy 5 slave baddies and treat them like queens? I do. We need that. For the people, you know? For our people. All right.
Taking a wrong turn somewhere. Just walk away, you nosy idiot.
Oh shit, there's more. I didn't even see them. That it? Where's the other one? Oh. This is that it? That's it. Anyways, what'd you say? This is when America was decently well past slavery. This is? Oh yeah, it's 1899. That's true. That's true.
Plan, fellas.
Love that. Don't ever try to rob me. I'm looking for a reason. I'm looking for a reason. Looks like a nice gun. Won't let me pick it up. Oh, it only let me pick him up. All right. This is 1899. That's true. I don't want the hat. For one trophy, right? No. Can I loot him though? No. I just need to loot. There we go. Thank you. There we go. I feel like I should take the carriage. You know? Got some good money. So how much is the we're not at the mission to get the fast travel, unfortunately. We need to get that though. All right, let's go. Yeah. Rush him real quick. Give him a nice brush. Just another day in America. Wait. Hold on. I didn't loot for treasure. Hold on. Another day in America, buddy. Anything? Yeah, search the chest. I almost left without that. Classic oat cakes. Good. You can't take... we need shoddy shells. That's all good. Can't take snake oil. Oat cakes for the horse. Yep. Horse medicine. We'll take that. Anything else? Opened horse medicine. Some decent supplies. Yeah, this was a good good little interruption we had. All right. Also, there's different ammo types you can equip for your gun, like explosive. I like the sound of... Where'd he go? Where? What the... Where'd he go? What the fuck? Oh. I forget they just wander off. Except you can only carry 10 explosive ammo at once because of how OP it is. That makes sense. That's actually... That's pretty fair.
Okay, boy.
That's pretty fair. That's pretty fair, to be honest. I'm not mad at that. There's also dynamite arrows in this game. You have one extra slot. You can equip a bow with that slot. This... Oh, yeah, that's true. Thank you for that. I didn't actually think about that. A bow is a good idea to keep. Especially if I need to hunt. So I don't ruin the pelts and stuff with a gun. Here we go. Oh, another smoke signal. Damn. What's over here?
So up now.
Wow. Incendiary shotgun shells are OP as fuck. I gotta get some. Smoke signals have people to talk to or loot. If they tell you to leave, just turn around.
Just get out of here.
Oh. My bad. Damn. Antisocial. 15 minutes? Okay. We may not even be able to do this quest, to be honest. There's some cool camps, but others are just random people minding their own business. All right, that's fair. Once we get to a part after where reputation doesn't really matter like that, we're just... That one scared me. I'm not gonna lie. That's scary. Thank you. I don't know why that one scared me. After the epilogue, honor doesn't matter one bit. Yeah, then I'm just gonna do what I want. It's a scary song. It is. It's such an abrasive opening. Oogity boogity. The scariest. The scariest of songs. Hello, brother.
You're all right, boy. Easy.
Oh, I hit the wrong button. I noticed the dirt. I'm actually like noticing the dirt. Put your hat on, Arthur needs it. I forgot about that. You're right. Good point. Hello? There we go. There we go. I've been wearing the hat for like most of today's playthrough, huh?
Yep.
Let's go, boy. Go quick. We're a bit low on time. I think we're going to have to... Are we going to be able to finish it? We have 14 minutes. I don't have time to deal with you. We could. Okay, should I get off here? Like of the horse? Because we're... Yeah, we're almost in her area. Actually, I think it would take 15 plus minutes for... Okay. So we'll start with that tomorrow. I'll just save like right here. And we'll just do that immediately tomorrow and then we'll go in. That cool? That cool? I think that's what we're going to have to do. Oh, I hit the wrong button. My bad, my bad, my bad, my bad. My bad. I didn't mean to go to social club. Okay. This game's actually fun. You were right. I want a nothing stream in trade for today's progress. So tomorrow we'll just side quest and fuck around. I'm good with that. You know me, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm cool with that. Drinking and poker? Yes. That's what tomorrow, Gamba stream? Gamba stream tomorrow? A good Gamba? I like that idea. Drinking and poker. Yes. Okay. That's what we're going to do. Now, do we go to the broke part of town again to get drunk and play poker, or do we go to the rich spot? Because we need to maximize our money. We got to maximize it, you know? Get drunk, then play poker. Yeah, and go to the rich spot. Okay. Bet. That's what we're doing. That is what we're doing tomorrow. You got to go to St. Dennis Bar. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. That's a good idea. I like that. I like that idea. Tomorrow's going to be fun then. Tomorrow's going to be fun. I really enjoy this game. There's a riverboat mission where you can bet 1K. Yeah, we don't even have 1K. Yeah, we can't do that. You know? We cannot do that. Eventually we will. Eventually. Way later. Yeah, way later. Like, way later. Way later. That'll be fun. Yeah, like we're still on chapter 2. Like, 1K, 18.99 bet is crazy. Yeah. Let's try to make a gambling profit. I mean, I'm down. I gotta get Borderlands on my PC so we can play whenever you get into it. Borderlands pretty cool. Okay. 1K 2023 bet is crazy. What is 1K and 18.99? How much is that today? $36,000? Jesus. Damn. $1,000 in 1899 is equivalent in purchasing power to, let me see, 36K, yeah. I'm actually pretty sure the mission was more around 10,000. 10,000? Jesus. Jesus. That's wild. That's actually wild. That's cool, though. I like this game. It's on a mission where the game is rigged. So it's rigged against us. We're not going to win. For us to win. Oh, okay, perfect. I'm good with that then. I'm good with that. That'll be fun. I have all my battery. Okay. This battery's charged. I'm good with that. In like 2 chapters. So in like a month from now. Right? In like a month from now, we'll get there. You know? We're going to be on this game forever, bro. We're going to be, because we're, you know, for every progress stream that we have, we're going to have like a non-progress stream, I think. Thoughts? I might have to dust off the old Red Dead Redemption 2 and join the Big Titty Bandits. Yes! Join. 1 step forward, 5 steps backward. Yeah, the Big Titty Bandits, we need our members. You know? We can't let those damn big dick bastards get their way. You know what I'm saying? We have to deal with them. That's going to be so fun. Especially now that I got my backstory. I like that. Peace out, Gangnam. Peace out, Broward. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for stopping through. I would join the big dick bastards. That was funny. You were like, actually, I think it sounds better to be there. All right, we got 8 minutes. Who are we raiding today? I want someone new. We got to find someone new to raid. You know? We need a new streamer to raid. Let's look at tags. Let's look at some. What tag would be a good person to look for? Birthday? We look at the birthday tag? A Red Dead streamer, choose one with 1 viewer. All right. Let's see. Let's go to Red Dead. Redemption 2. Yeah, we'll do that. So let's sort low to high. I like to raid 1 viewer channels. Okay. Red Dead 2. We have to make sure they're cool, though. We can't just, like, pick a rando. You know? I'm looking for a face cam. If I can find one with a face cam, I'd like that better. Gotta make sure they're speaking, too. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of looking for a face cam. Oh, I need, let's see. I hope they have their raids on, you know? Because some people don't have raids on, so you can't do it. Meek and Lino are on? They are. Altinia is also on. Who do we do here? So these are 2 viewer Andys. Let's go back to the 1s. No person with 1 viewer has a face cam that I'm looking at. 1 to 3 viewers are good? All right, I'm looking for a face cam. And English. That's the other thing. I have to look for someone who speaks English. You know? This is Red Dead RP. If you like Warzone or audio optimization, Art is War. Oh, yeah, I've seen Art is War. Found a PS4 streamer. Let me see. Give me the URL. Give me the URL. Art is dope. Okay. Let's rate Art, and then what we'll do, seeing if he talks. Here's what we'll do, Legate. We'll look through and find some Red Dead ones to raid tomorrow, right? And we'll raid Art today. I don't know Art, but we'll raid Art. His setup looks cool as fuck. All right, tomorrow when we have time. Yeah, great vibes. Okay. Great dude. I hate to raid and run, but I have to. I got to get ready to go. But we will raid him. I like that. I like that. Cool. Okay. I like his room setup. His room setup looks cool. Appreciate the vibes while working. I appreciate you stopping through. There. Oh, you can't see him. Hold on. Let me move to the bottom. There we go. See ya. See ya, Killmonger. Thanks for stopping through. I appreciate you, man, for real. I appreciate you. Oh, is your wife feeling better? I remember you said she was sick. She feeling better? I hope so. Hope everyone's good. Let's raid. I got you. I'm starting it. Of course, brother. She's feeling better. Perfect. I'm glad. All right. I'm getting out of here. I love y'all. Thanks for asking. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm starting the raid. Hopefully it doesn't uncancel like sometimes it does. It used unraid. Did you see that? It won't let me do it. Why does it do that? It won't let me do it. Yeah, it canceled. Let me try again. Weird. Maybe I have to do it from my unraid. Okay, let me try it from my Twitch thing. Maybe try backslash, right? Let's see. Unraid. What is happening? Let me try it from the Twitch dashboard. Let's try it from the Twitch dashboard. Raid channel. Artist War. Let's see. Raid. Artist Run with Pasta Matt. Why is it doing that? Like, what's going on? Is it raiding? Let's see. No. It's not. Let's see. Are you here? Maybe his raids are off? Maybe. They may be off. Let me try with another channel then. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll raid. I'll go to Altinia and see if Altinia's raids are on. Let's see if this works. I think it's because you're in light mode. I have to be in light mode because my eyes just got blinded. I'm sorry. I should have had a flashbang. It's only on when I'm streaming. Let's try Altinia. Let's see. Okay, so I think his raids are off. That's what it is. Nope, never mind. Raids just don't want to work today. I guess we're not raiding. Weirdly enough. But rip, yeah. Let's just go spam his chat and be like, raid, even though you're not actually going. We got flagged by that one lady. She probably heard us. I'm gonna go. Yo, Legate, thanks for stopping through, man. Taylor, can you whisper me that link? I don't know why it keeps putting asterisks. I don't know why it's doing that. Here, I'll post here's who we're supposed to raid. But it didn't work. The raid's not working, but that's who we were supposed to raid. Yeah, I actually have to get out of here. I'll try one more time. We'll try one more time. Okay, one more time. Unraid. All right. I guess maybe better luck tomorrow. Better luck tomorrow. Hello, y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. See ya. Weird.